Good evening. Welcome to Martinsville Speedway. My name is Daryl Morley. Alongside me is Tim Terry and Nim Cross as we bring you the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship tonight. Martinsville Speedway welcomes the drivers with some, well, let's not call them open arms, Tim.
You could very well call it open arms for maybe the first couple of laps, and then these guys are going to get down and dirty for 250 laps. There's going to be some beating, some banging, some typical short track action. I'm excited for it, and there's 43 cars strong, Nim, that are getting ready to take this green flag. I can't wait.
Yeah, 43 cars on a paperclip half mile where it's difficult to hit that concrete line down on the inside. If you miss that concrete line, you're up in the slippery stuff up on the outside, and it's very narrow corners. There should be a lot of excitement here tonight.
Tim, I know you guys had quite the exciting race on Saturday night here on PSR TV, but tonight you get to hang out with us here when we only turn left on Tuesday nights. We've been looking forward to getting you into one of these Tuesday night shows for quite some time, and Martinsville seemed like the night to do it, buddy.
Yeah, there's no right turns here, and there's all kinds of left turns. There's going to be 250 laps in this event, 4 turns apiece. You can do the math on that one. Of course, Klaus Kivickas is your points leader over on the roadside. Unlike the roadside, though, we have a very close point standings going on here with Ray Alfala and Thomas Hazard. Nim, there's only 2 points in between them. That's going to be exciting to watch as we go through 250 laps.
Yep, both of those guys have had great seasons so far. Ray Alfala obviously on top, has had 3 great runs, and maybe even a little bit of surprise to him as he's told us the last few races, but no surprise to us. He's obviously a great driver and has had a great season so far.
The Cape Coral, Florida racer will also look to extend his points lead here, and of course we're talking about Ray Alfala. He is your current points leader coming into the evening with a 2-point lead over Thomas Hazard. Josh Parker sits in 3rd. Derek Wood is 4th. Chris Main sits in the 5th spot, followed by Tyler Hudson, Josh Berry, Jason Burstein, Brian Schoenberg, and Brad Wright. Interesting point here, Tim. Top 10 in points. 2 of those drivers rookies to the series.
And you look back through their 11th through 20th place, you have Charles Cosper in 12th place, Joshua Lawton in 13th place. They are both rookies. Jeremy Allen, Steve Sheehan, Matthew Moose sit 18, 19, and 20th place respectively in this series. They are all rookies. They are looking to make a splash here, and what a way to make a splash and on the short track at Martinsville.
Yep, every season when the drivers change positions and the new crop comes in, this series gets a lot harder, and with the influx of new rookie drivers this season, this series got a lot harder for the 2011 NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship.
Speaking of the World Championship, your 2010 World Champion Richard Towler comes in 23rd in the overall point standings, at least for the 2011 calculations thus far. And Richard Towler really kind of has to pick up his game if he's going to hope to go back-to-back and become the first man to win over $20,000 in sim racing, Tim.
And Brad Davies in that 2nd spot last season has a small hole to dig out of, not as big as Richard Towler, but he sits 15th in the point standings, but he's fast here this evening. He is 2nd currently in the warm-up session to Ray Alfala. He's going to start in 3rd on the inside of row number 2, and of course Richard Towler going to start on the outside of that first row. So there's lots of stories to follow here, and of course 43 different stories if you want to look at it that way, Nim. These drivers looking to make a splash, and some of them looking to come from deep in this field. A lot of talent stacked outside the top 20.
Yeah, most definitely. Towler's going to be looking to make up from his mistakes last week. Remember last week on a long green flag run, he spun out on those old tires, so he's going to have to watch out for that. Then today's race, tires are going to be an issue also. 70 laps is about what they can get on tires, so 70 laps here at Martinsville goes by pretty quick, and they're going to have to watch their tire wear here.
Tim, you mentioned some of the talent outside the top 20 for starting position. Guys like Richie Davidowitz, who will start 20th. Jesse Atchison, who will start 26th. Sandeep Banerjee, who will start 27th. Jason Burstein starting way back in 29th. John Prather, who will start 31st position. Vinny Sansone all the way back in 34th. Ben Sexton in 36th. What about Jamison Spieth back in 37th? Chad Coleman in 39th. Joshua Lawton way back in 41st. And John Costa, our Daytona winner, all the way back starting in 43rd. Our Daytona 500 winner here on the iRacing Service. Top split winner for the Daytona 500 will be our final starter here tonight. Yeah, there's some talent stacked deep in this field, Tim.
And there's one, if you want to look for a dark horse here this evening, Justin Trombley going to start number 9 in 42nd position. He is a former iRacing late model tour champion. He is a former iRacing NASCAR Tour Modified Series champion. He knows how to win on these short tracks, but he's going to have to dig himself out of a huge hole starting 42nd, and he's nearly a quarter of a lap down when we take the green flag now.
Yeah, 4/10 of a second from first to last. It's a pretty tight field between 43 drivers to only have 4/10 of a second. So, one little mess up in qualifying could take you from a good top 10 starting spot all the way back here at the end of the track in 40th. And like you said, Tim, is when this race starts, the back end of the field is going to be pretty close to getting a lap down, just very similar to the way it was at Martinsville.
This is the first time we've had 43 cars take the green at Martinsville Speedway, and we will be lining those drivers up in just a few minutes. As a matter of fact, these drivers will be called to the grid momentarily. They're all being told to exit the Speedway so they can return to the Speedway, as we will get set to let you know who will be starting where here at Martinsville Speedway. The action is about to come your way from the proper side of the tracks here at Martinsville Speedway as the train track runs along the backstretch here at Martinsville Speedway. Should be a lot of fun, and we are tickled pink that you are all along to join us for the ride here on PSR TV, the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Derek Wood will start on the pole in the number 8 machine, and outside of row number 1, the number 11, the defending world champion, Richard Towler.
How about row number 2? We see the number 4, Brad Davies on the inside of the outside. Number 2, Josh Berry.
Or number 3, the car number 7, Brian Schoenberg starting 5th, and outside of him, number 23 of Josh Parker.
Thomas Hazard will roll the number 3 inside of row number 4, and outside row 4, the number 6, your points leader of Ray Alfala.
Completing your top 10 as the drivers roll off is Brad Wright in 9th on the outside, Thomas Lewandowski in the 19.
Daniel Pope will be starting 11th. Next to him is Chris Main in the car number 30, starting 12th.
John Gorlinski will start 13th in the number 22, and outside of him, the number 28 of Pedro Mojica.
Next up on the grid, the number 40 of Patrick Fogel on the inside to the outside, 27, Jason Anderson.
Your next row, 17th, Nolan Scott, 18th, Steve Sheehan.
Connor McKenzie will roll up inside of row number 10 and outside row 10, the number 13 of Richie Davidowitz.
Just outside the top 20 in 21st place is Greg Spears, to his outside, the 43 of Jordan Hightower.
Car number 1 starts the 23rd, that's Tyler Hudson. 24th will be Stephen Gilbert.
Andrew Fayash III will start in the 25th position, and starting 26th is Jesse Atchison.
Sandeep Banerjee going to start in 27th place. 28th is going to be Josh Connors.
29th, Jason Bernstein, and Dana Weimeyer is 30th.
Completing the starting lineup, Prather, Daly, Stevens, Sansone, Allen, Sexton, Spieth, Goddard, Coleman, Moose, Lawton, Trombley, and Costa. Here we go. Green flag. We are underway here at Martinsville.
Great start
Derek Wood.
hop for the number 8 as he gets out side by side. We are racing the 11 and the 4.
Derek Wood gets a good jump. He's out about 2 car lengths over Towler. Brad Davies slots in the 3rd. Right behind him is Josh Berry and Brian Schoenberg, currently battling for that 5th spot.
Nice battle here between Josh Parker on the inside, on the outside, we should say, the number 23, and on the inside, the number 7 of Brian Schoenberg. Parker going to have the spot on the outside.
And now he chases down the number 2 with Josh Berry. Josh Berry right in front of him. That is position number 4 as these guys race around single file. It looks like everybody's found a place to race on lap number 3.
Yeah, everybody doing a good job here early on, trying to get single file and get sorted out. That's what these guys have been doing pretty much through the first 3 or 4 races here. They know that they got a long way to go, so they get strung out and try to find a good, safe place so they can get it to the end of the race.
29 car goes around in turn number 3, and that should slow up the field. First yellow flag of the evening for the 29 car around in turn number 3. That's Stephen Gilbert. Interesting story on the number 23 of Josh Parker. A lot of people will look at that car and go, wait a minute, that's not Josh Parker's car. It is now Josh Parker, newest member of JR Motorsports.
And currently in the top 10 and 6th place right now. So a great run so far for Josh Parker. Of course, it is early, and all these cars up in the front of him look pretty spotless so far through 5 laps.
Yeah, so far, back in the pack, it's a little more beating and banging going on. Obviously, a lot of cars trying to get through these very narrow grooves here at Martinsville. You got to stay on the concrete. That's where all the grip is. And you don't want to be up on the outside, so everybody fighting down to get their spots early. The 29 car of Gilbert doesn't look too bad. He's got a little bit of body damage on the left side there, so see if he can't get that worked out and get back in the race.
Of course, JR Motorsports, also known as Junior Motorsports, that the team that Dale Earnhardt Jr. heads. We're referring to Josh Parker, of course, as Parker leaving Xlander Motorsports, or Xlander Racing, very, very recently, is finishing up or putting a cap on that deal with Josh Parker and that new paint scheme for Josh. And Tim, you and I have talked multiple times about drivers switching paint schemes mid-season, and one of the guys that we like to that we always count on having one of those similar paint schemes week after week after week has just changed paint schemes on us, but he had a darn good reason. Dale Jr. asked him to drive one of his cars, and when Dale Jr. asks you to drive one of his cars, you go, yes, sir.
It's pretty hard to say no, and especially when you're running up front. Josh Parker, 3rd in the point standings. We touched on it a little bit earlier as the lights go off atop the pace car. If you're going to run up front, it's going to command a little bit more attention, and right now, running in position number 5, I'm sure Josh is looking to better that and gain a couple of extra points to pad that 3rd place position.
Everybody's getting lined up, ready to get this restart at the finish of lap number 7 here, starting lap number 8. Still got a long way to go. 250 laps will be the distance in this race, and it looks like Derek Wood getting ready for that green flag. Pace car is off, and Derek Wood takes the green.
Back to green flag racing. They'll work them down towards turn number 1, side by side yet again here at Martinsville. Big wiggle for Parker as they are side by side. Parker and the number 7 are side by side, as several drivers still side by side here at Martinsville.
Josh Berry working the outside right now of car number 4 with Brad Davies. It's a real good battle of Berry working on the outside.
I tell you what, they're, oh boy, 3-wide race, and they're still rubbing. 7 around. Brian Schoenberg in front of the field. Save it, Brian. Nice save by the number 7.
Several drivers having to make some incredible saves here in the early going at Martinsville Speedway, and when you're having to make an incredible save early in the race, it doesn't set a good tone for the entire race for you, as these drivers really having to be up on the wheel, as already some drivers showing some damage to their cars. Looking through the field, I can see some damage to the front end of the number 23, that new Suave Degree-sponsored ride for Josh Parker. Already some damage, I do believe, to the back end of the number 3 of Thomas Hazard as well.
And look back here as well, Daryl. Ray Alfalo was caught up in that mess. He's all the way back in 15th place right now, chasing Connor McKenzie in the number 20. You don't want to be doing that, especially if you're the points leader here at Martinsville. A little bit of damage to the number 6. Looks cosmetic from hearing him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be all right. The car seems to be tracking pretty straight. He seems to be up to speed, so he should have no problems going forward.
Derek Wood continues to lead. Second spot is Richard Towler. 2 Whiskey River sponsored rides. As you look out the rear bumper of Derek Wood's ride, back to Richard Towler. Josh Berry sits in the weeds waiting for one of these 2 drivers to make a mistake.
And looking back here, Daryl, it looks like about 8 cars have broken away. Check that, 7 cars broken away from 8th on back. That little checkup with Brian Schoenberg, Ray Alfala, and the rest looks like it's stacked up most of the field on back. Chris Main is leading up what is now the second pack back here.
Yeah, he might be holding up these guys just a little bit as you see the gap in front of him, and then a lot of cars right behind him. So he might be holding these guys up just a little bit. As the 12 car, Brad Wright, as very fast in practice. Brad Wright looks like he wants to get by right now.
Stephen Gilbert rejoining the fray here, albeit 8 laps down as you ride in car with second place Richard Towler, the defending world champion, looking ahead at the number 8 of Derek Wood. Towler trying to find a way to get around Wood. Towler could really use some laps led here.
And these guys will be coming up on some lap traffic in just a few moments' time. It looks like Jean Costa is at the rear of this field, as is Josh Connors. So the field will be coming up on those drivers, and that might be the opening that Richard Towler needs if he wants to get up here and lead some laps.
Wood currently working lap number 18, and we'll be getting into lap traffic soon, just as we predicted, but Towler only 0.3 of a second off his rear bumper right now.
Great battle taking place a little bit deeper in the field, about 14th and 15th position. Connor McKenzie sliding out on the racetrack. Ray Alfala trying to get a nose down to the inside. Alfala will dive down to the inside, entering turn number 3. Ray Alfala looking to the inside of Connor McKenzie, and Ray Alfala will pass up the young Canadian driver, Connor McKenzie.
And now in front of him sits Patrick Fogel in the number 40, so Ray Alfala knows he's in a hole and he has to dig out of it as he closes in on the car in front of him.
Looks like car number 16 is around in turn number 4. And he's trying to get straightened out, right in the middle of traffic there. That's one thing about Martinsville. It's pretty narrow. You get spun around, turned the wrong way, and it's hard to get turned back around with all these cars on the track. That's Joshua Lofton around in turn 4.
Joshua Lawton gets turned around in turn number 4, and some significant body damage to the sim boot number 16 of Joshua Lawton. And Josh will have some repairs to make, and he'll get to test out the damage model here in iRacing.
Well, you know, Richard Howler, the 11 car, took some heavy damage in that incident there as Lofton tried to back up to get his car down the inside. That was just as Towler was coming by, and Towler took some heavy damage to the right side of the car.
And looking at it, it looks like he's letting everybody pass on the inside as these guys come down onto pit road, and you can see that heavy damage on the right-hand side.
Towler not having a lot of luck here earlier on in the season. He's going to spend some time in the pits getting that damage fixed here, so he's going to lose a lot of spots and a lot of track position.
And that will just let the air out of Richard Towler's race in the early going, and he had such a good run going. Tough break for Richard Towler, and still plenty of time left to go, and that's what he's going to be telling himself right now. Plenty of time. I can work my way back up to the front, but it's got to feel almost like his season has felt up to this point. He has the positives, but the negatives just keep on coming up and biting him in the backside. And again, a negative comes up and bites him in the backside.
And Daryl, you can't have too many negatives. We talked about the 2 drop races that we're going to have. You can't have 3. With a series like this, you can't wait for your opponents to have issues. You can't wait for them to make mistakes. So Richard Towler is going to be behind the 8 ball here after just 4 races in this series. Meanwhile, out in front of this field is Patrick Fogel. He's out here trying to get that bonus point for leading a lap, and it looks like he's been successful in that. I'm not sure if he's going to stay out here and maybe restart this race, maybe from the top, and maybe gain some track position.
Yeah, you might be looking for that bonus point, as you said. The tires, You know, we talked about earlier, 70 laps on tires. We've had probably about 15 green laps so far. So, you know, it's time. It could be a good time to pick up some track position here, as a number of cautions could be high in this race. So there still might be a lot of time before he hits 70 green laps on his tires, and it might be a good time to stay out and let those accidents happen in the back, and he can just avoid them from here.
So Fogel up at the front, Sansone up at the front as well. They'll be out on slightly older tires. Wood is your race leader. Josh Parker sits in second. We'll see how this works out for Fogel and Sansone as we get set. Sansone or Sansoni, Tim? I don't remember. I think it might be Sansone, but it might be Sansoni again.
We can fly with Sansone right now on the outside in that second place position. This might not be too bad of a call for those two drivers if we get a quick caution here to put them back on the fray of things when it comes to pit stops. Pace car is in. We're getting ready to see the green flag once again. 26 laps are completed and we're back underway.
Patrick gets a good start going down corner number 1. The guys behind try to jump just a little bit and got sorted out. The 25 car gets up out of the groove, and that's real slippery up there. And they got to be careful of letting them back in line down here because 3 wide doesn't work here at Martinsville too well.
Oh, the 25 around up the front bumper of the number 4, and that'll bring out the yellow. And apparently now we know how those older tires worked out for the 25.
Yeah, it looks like 3 car of Hazard got into the back of the 4 car of Brad Davies. That sent the 4 car up the track a little bit, and then he got into 25.
And that's a tough break for that number 25. It looks like he just barely scraped the wall with the back end of that race car when he went up there, so he might be able to come down and get that damage repaired. But the pride's probably going to be hurting a little more in that race car in the driver's seat of that number 25.
You know, that's one thing about...
Got stuck to the outside and really kind of hurt himself getting stuck to that high side. May have driven it in a little bit too deep into turn 1, not really sure. Either way, Patrick Fogel makes the risk pay off for himself as he maintains that number 1 spot in the main performance PC sponsored ride. A little bit of damage to the back bumper, and I would suggest that little bit of damage to the back bumper will become significant damage to the back bumper as he will be a little off the pace compared to Derek Wood, Josh Parker, and Josh Berry. And we learned last week or 2 weeks ago, Derek Wood, he'll put the bumper to you to get by. Brian Blackford knows that.
And Daryl, it's one of the necessities here sometimes at these racetracks, and I'm sure we'll see it really come down to about 25 laps to go. But right now, the bumper really not a necessity. Of course, if you want to get going, you don't want to get a lap down, you might be able to use that chrome horn. But Patrick Fogel right now out in front of this field. I haven't done a whole lot of laps in this car at this racetrack, Nim. You might know a little bit more than me on the tire wear. These guys came in with just over 20 laps on their first stop. Can Patrick go about 50 laps or so on these tires and stack up to these guys in the front of the field?
Well, you know what I think he's looking at here is he might be able to go 50 laps from here, but how many green flag laps is that going to be is the important question, and it might not be that many green flag laps. So he could wait another 50 laps, and it won't be so bad out front here. It's all about green flag laps and not caution laps, and we're getting a lot of cautions here early. So, you know, he probably hasn't worn out those tires too much yet, but if you get somebody in back of you that has a lot fresher tires than you are, they will have a clear advantage.
Tyler Hudson has just lost connection to the server. Also, Richard Towler has retired from this race as there goes our defending world champion. And as this season continues on and the bad luck continues for Richard Towler, it gets less and less likely that we will see back-to-back title reigns for RT.
I'm sure he's going to give it a try to get up there, and he'll try everything that he can to get up there and try to go back-to-back. He might fall a little bit short here this season, but it's still a long season. We still got a long way to go. Pace car's in.
Patrick Fogel leads him down to the green flag. Looks like the 8 car of Derek Wood trying to get a little bit of a jump on that outside. Fogel's going to lead him down for a slow start, and looks like the yellow is going to stay out. So it looks like the green flag was waved off there, and we'll get the green flag next time around.
The restart waved off. This time by will get the restart. Fogel will be in control of the field. The pace car doesn't even bother coming back out onto the racetrack. Pace car says, you know what? Just go around again. Patrick, we trust you. Don't jump the start. Patrick Fogel nails the gas out of turn number 4. Nice restart for Fogel, as well for Josh Parker. Parker side by side with Wood. Josh Parker up to P2.
And look at the 8 car back there as well. Tucks into position number 3. Ray Alfala has found his way up to 4th and 5th place right now is the battle. Barry has it, and there's a lot of hungry guys coming. Here comes the lead.
Yep, Josh Parker moves to the inside of Patrick Fogel, coming around turns 1 and 2. Fogel up on the outside, can't do nothing. Those used tires look to be a little bit more of a hindrance than we thought they might be, as now Fogel stuck up on the outside line, and a number of guys will be getting by.
Fogel will be stranded on that high side, stuck on the island, so to speak, as here goes Ray Alfala driving by. Josh Berry gets by. The number 12 of Brad Wright puts the nose to the inside of Patrick Fogel. Fogel in the number 40 stuck to the high side. Here comes the number 3, Thomas Hazard. Hazard gets down to the inside. When will it end for Patrick Fogel?
And Nim, he's up there in the loose stuff. He's up there in the slippery stuff. And that's the worst thing about it. The freight train's coming underneath him, and so far it doesn't look like there's going to be any hole opening up as the 19 makes a spot on Patrick Fogel.
You know, one thing that this does too, it puts him up on the outside lane, and it puts him in a position where he could get bumped and turned around. Even through a mistake or whatever from somebody on the inside. When you're up on the outside lane, you're putting yourself in a bad position, and just being up there could cause you a lot of problems. So that track position is something that he might have right now, but he's learned about this decision, and it might not be a good one to stay out on old tires.
Fogel finally able to get back down to the inside as you look out the rear bumper of Ray Alfala's number 6 machine, the JDR Graphics number 6 of Ray Alfala. Alfala looking back at Josh Berry, one of the short track aces. As you look at the battle for 3rd spot, Ray Alfala holding off Josh Berry, and that's no small feat.
And you look at Josh Berry, that nose planted into the racetrack going down, nearly getting into the curb. You don't want to hit the curb and upset the handling of that race car. He's holding a pretty wheel right now, Nim. Very clean for that number 2 at Josh Berry as he closes in on Ray Alfala, waiting for Ray Alfala to make a mistake.
Yeah, both these drivers, some of the best drivers here we have here at iRacing. Josh Berry, we talked about JR Motorsports before. Josh Berry works for JR Motorsports, and he's a late model driver. Will be running at Motor Mile this weekend. I believe this is his first week of the season, and he drives for JR Motorsports car in that series.
Lap traffic sliding to the high side. The number 33 car moves to the high side. The 33, by the way, giving the inside groove to all the race leaders. That's Ben Sexton. Sexton giving up the inside line to the race leaders. Classy move from Sexton, not his night. Gives it up to the inside groove race leaders. So all the drivers able to get by the lap car of Ben Sexton.
And 1 point on Ben Sexton, you look at that right now. Why would he stay out when he's multiple laps down? Well, he's battling for position. Of course, the top 30 will make it in once again to next season's Series World Championship, NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship. So Nim, he wants every point he can get to try to get that top 30 cut off.
You know what's crazy is that Ben on here, he's getting lapped right now, and some people might think, well, he's a slow car out there. He's only a couple of 10 seconds off of these guys who are the best here, and he was in a competition amongst thousands of racers to get to this level. So Ben is no slouch, and just having a little bit of problems here at Martinsville tonight, and as all these drivers are very competitive and all very accomplished drivers just to get to this level.
43 of the best drivers in all of iRacing have met up here at Martinsville Speedway, and it's bound to happen. Some drivers are going to have an off night, and that's exactly what's happening for Ben here tonight. And it takes a lot of class to be at the level that Ben is at and say, you know what, boys, it's not my night. I'm going to get out of the way. We rode in car for a little bit with Josh Parker, your race leader, and the throttle control that Josh Parker has is just absolutely amazing to be able to hang that car out and still be able to keep it under control as he works on the back bumper of Josh Lawton.
And you look at it, Daryl, he's passing lap traffic, he's working lap traffic, he's pulling away from your second-place driver, Derek Wood, and it looks like Derek Wood may have caught Josh Lawton at the wrong place there coming off the corner to make a move, as we got cars all over the racetrack in front of the leaders.
That's Florian Goddard around in turn number 4. The iRacing TV sponsored ride. Unfortunate turn of events for Florian Goddard, and we'll try to take a peek and see what happened to Florian Goddard. I believe that the 28 may have gotten into the back of the 36 of Florian Goddard, and then the 41 may have gotten a piece of him as well. Tough break for Florian Goddard, and Florian goes around, and unfortunately Florian Goddard will have some damage to the back bumper of the iRacing TV sponsored ride.
And as these guys enter pit road right now, the 23 of Josh Parker going into his pit box. Nim, he had a huge lead on second place, and when you come down to pit work and it's seconds on the pit road to get back out to the racetrack, that'll help. The 3, though, gets out in front of the 23.
You know, when you're making pit stops here at Martinsville, you have to be on your game because, you know, if you're from the middle of the pack on back and you make a pit stop, you can find yourself a lap down just by making a normal pit stop here. Lap times, even under caution, are very quick. And the pit road speed, 35 mile an hour around here, you know, it's just very difficult. This is, even under caution, you are constantly working hard, and you know everything. You're on the edge all the time, even under caution. So there are no breaks here. You have to do well under caution just to keep your spot.
Fans, don't forget you keep up with the latest action here at PSR TV by following us on Twitter at twitter.com/PSR TV. And those of you that are Facebook-minded can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/PSR TV. You know, the half of the United States and half of the world population that is Facebook-minded can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/PSR TV. And we've got some private goals as far as friends on Facebook and followers on Twitter and people that like us on Facebook. We've got some private goals that we're not going to publish. We're not going to let you know what our goals are, but we've got some pretty cool things planned for the community once we reach those goals, and they're sort of progressive goals. So once we reach those goals, we'll start to unveil, that's the word we're talking about, unveil those rewards for the community as we start to reach those goals. So get over there, follow us on Twitter, and like us and friend us on Facebook as well. Come on, we just want to be your friends.
Did you say giveaways? I like giveaways. Giveaways are good. We're about to go back to green flag racing here, and Nim, Chris Main stays out to lead a lap. He's 5th in points, but he's showing some Martinsville battle scars already, and we're only 54 laps in.
Yeah, he's got some heavy damage on the front and back of that car, which, you know, most of these drivers will. By the end of the race, they'll be beat up pretty good. But Chris has old tires and a pretty beat up car, so Josh Berry on that outside will be looking to get by him pretty quick.
Green flag flies. We're underway. By the way, you want to know what the giveaway is? It's Nim Cross's paycheck. I'm kidding. We're just kidding. We're not going to give away Nim's paycheck. Back under green flag conditions. Nim, breathe, buddy. Breathe. We're not really giving it away. Side by side battle for the top spot. Parker down to the inside. On the outside, Chris Main. Parker gobbles up Chris Main.
What a perfectly timed move there for Josh Parker to take away that lead once again. Josh Berry now into second. Ray Alfala up there as well. And Chris Main trying to keep pace. The 3 and the 8 now battle side by side. The 8 stuffed that car into the low side.
Yeah, he wanted to keep the 3 car of Thomas Hazard up stuck behind the 30 car of Chris Main right there. Hazard was trying to get down behind that car so he could get back in line, but he was held up there by the 30 car for quite a bit, and that was a pretty bold move there by Derek, trying to keep him up there.
Some of the best sim racers out there don't only use the track to their advantage, they also use their surroundings, those around them, to their advantage as well, and that's exactly what Derek Wood did there. He knew that Chris Mayne was a little bit off the pace, some older tires, a damaged race car. Use him as a pick. Get that number 3 car off your back bumper.
One word we really haven't talked about all night long: anticipation. You have to anticipate what is going to go on in front of you, what's going to go on behind you, and what's going to go on all around. And it looks like we might have one driver nearly around the number 7 of Brian Schoenberg. Yellow flag is out.
Yeah, Brian had a little bit of a problem a couple laps ago, and this time he got in, to banging doors with the 32 car going down in corner number 1.
Seven car Schoenberg might be looking for somebody on the racetrack, not quite sure. Schoenberg may be a little bit angry here at Martinsville, and tempers do tend to flare here at a short track, but it looks like Schoenberg may be slowing it up. Maybe Schoenberg remembers what happened just a couple of weeks ago to a certain Brian Blackford, and Schoenberg wants no part of what happened to the other Brian. As if you might notice, there is no Brian Blackford in tonight's race, Tim.
Indeed, you have to keep your... You can let the tempers boil, but keep the tempers in check to the point that you don't use your car as a weapon to hinder the progress of other race cars on the racetrack. And I think right now, Brian Schoenberg, the crew chief, has calmed him down, and right now the number 7 sporting those battle scars, but he's still in 10th place. He still has an opportunity to win this event. And Nim, we mentioned earlier, there's thousands of drivers on iRacing that have tried to qualify for this series, and when you're a guy like, let's say, Justin Trombley or Steve Sheehan back there in the back of the field, you might be getting a little bit frustrated when you're not at the front of the field, when you're used to being at the front of the field.
Yeah, there's no doubt that all these drivers are good drivers, accomplished drivers, and they are used to running up front. One thing about all the drivers in today's race, we have drivers racing each other actually, from their home computers. They're all sitting in front of their computers and taking part in this competition. And there's drivers from all around the world. We have Sandeep Banerjee in this race. He is from India, and he's racing Brian Schoenberg here in this race. I believe Brian's from the west coast of the U.S. here somewhere. And, the drivers, even though they're not located at the same place, they're all in very heavy competition here, and they're very heated competition. And they got to, they get just as excited about this and put as much into it as your real world racers do. So, if you like what you see here, you can come join us here at www.iracing.com. Right now we have a special going on if you want to try it out. Buy 1 month, get 2 months free. So 3 months total for, I believe it's $12.99, and you can have 3 months of racing here and check it out and see if you like it.
Ding! As Josh Parker continues to lead this one, Josh Berry sits in second spot. Ray Alfala sits in third. Derek Wood is fourth. Fifth is Thomas Hazard. These drivers line up side by side and get set to go back to green flag racing. And Josh Parker has really kind of overcome a few drivers making that decision to stay out on some older tires. And he's really been able to navigate some traffic that has been a little bit slower off the pace. Now he'll have to navigate Josh Berry on his outside. Berry misses a shift on the restart. Parker just takes off and leaves him in the dust. Berry's going to have to deal with Ray Alfala on the inside.
Choo-choo train coming through, and it looks like Josh Berry, can he fit in here? Yes, he can. The 8. Oh, boy, contact being made. 2 up the racetrack, 8 of Derek Wood. The train was coming in, and it just went past Josh Berry.
Yeah, Derek has he put some bumpers with some people last day, and I'm sure Barry's not going to have none of that. Barry gives Wood the bumper back, and it looks like those guys are getting in trouble going down the back straightaway.
Blatantly flat out dumped him to Josh Berry, came back down, laid the bumper to him, shoved him up out of the way, and then just flat out turned him coming off from turn number 2, and I don't know that it gets more blatant than that.
I tell you what, Darryl, we see it all the time at local short tracks. Well, not all the time at local short tracks, but when sometimes the tempers get a little bit flared, the guy in front of you bumps you out of the way for position, you see red. It's like when the bullfighter puts the red cloth in front of the bull, you don't want to be in between it because you are going to get run over, Nim.
Yeah, there were a number of issues last week where some drivers were complaining that Derek was hitting them and moving them out of the way last week. And, it looked like he was doing the same thing here. And, sometimes when you're a short track racer, you're a race car driver, you can't get beat on all the time without showing the guy that you're not going to put up with it. And that's, I think, what we saw right there.
Well, taking a double look at it, a triple look at it, you got to wonder, was Josh Berry down out of the way, and was the aid of Derek Wood trying to crowd Josh Berry? Not sure. And that's something that will have to be looked at and double checked and triple checked as close quarters racing. Ooh. It's a tough call. It's a real tough call. Neither one of those drivers are known for giving an inch, and Tim, I don't think either driver gave an inch. The 2 pushed the 8 out of the way. The 8 pushed the 2 out of the way. That thing was coming for quite some time. You could see it building, and it was bound to happen, and it did.
Definitely hard racing for those drivers in front of the field. And I know one thing, I don't want to be next door in the race control booth. It's nice and quiet over here. We got catering. They're over there, and they're having a time trying to figure out what's going on. Nim, I don't want to be in their shoes.
There's catering?
I thought so. I thought Darryl promised us catering.
Well, right now we're working lap number 70, and Barry's able to maintain his 3rd position. With it didn't hurt. Wood made a pit stop, so he is going to go back of the pack right now. I haven't seen any type of official intervention here, so maybe it's everything's okay here. And right now Parker leading. We're at Martinsville. It's going to be tough. And Parker, Alfala, Barry, Hazard, and Gorlinski. Gorlinski missed last week's race, remember, and he's still doing pretty good in points. But Gorlinski missed last week's race, and he's up in the top 5 now.
Parker will have Ray Alfala to his outside, and if he looks in his rearview mirror, he might want to take a deep breath and swallow hard. There's Josh Berry right behind him, and I don't think Josh Berry is going to give Josh Parker any quarter. Josh and Josh aren't known for getting along all that well. Big slide for Ray Alfala, and Alfala drops in right in front of Josh Berry, and that's going to give Josh Parker some room.
And it's going to put Ray Alfala into 2nd place. Josh Berry back to 3rd. Battle here for 5th place. John Gorlinski looking to pick up a spot on Brad Davies.
Yeah, Alfala is doing a really impressive job there in the 2nd place. Our points leader has been very impressive all season long. And it's not only here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Alfala runs the Oval Series, the Road Series also, the Drivers' World Championship over there on the road side, and he was involved in our Intel Championship Series out in England, out in Europe. So he's an all-around racer, and he's doing a good job here tonight.
Yeah, Ray Alfala has proven himself to be one of the best all-around sim racers on planet Earth, right up there with the Gregor Hutus and right up there with the Richard Towlers. And Ray Alfala is looking for that championship ring to put on his shelf, and 2011 could be the season as you ride in car with Ray Alfala. A lot of people already naming him as the uncrowned champion. I think still a little bit early to go crowning champions there, Tim.
Especially when Thomas Hazard is only 2 points behind in 2nd place, and Thomas Hazard right now 4th place on the racetrack. Definitely too early to say something like that. Top 5 are single file so far, and it looks like, Nim, they might be in the logging laps mode and maybe trying to get some green flag racing in here to get to lap 250.
Yep, and cracking into that top 5 now is Brad Davies. Last year's series runner-up and winner of $3,000 is now moved into the top 5. We got to keep an eye on him because he is always there at the end of the race, and he will be a factor by the end of this one.
Brad Davies catching up with that race car as that race car starting to get a little bit slick for Davies as he catches up to that machine. And Brad Davies bunches up the field behind him. The number 12 is bunched up behind him. That's Brad Wright. As behind him, I believe that's John Gorlinski in the Wrangler number 22.
And Gorlinski is going in the wrong way, Daryl. He started 5th in the last restart. He's already back to 7th, and Daniel Pope is on his back bumper wanting to make the move should Gorlinski slide up once again. So Gorlinski not in a position that he wants to be. Of course, it's nice to be in the top 10, but when you're falling back, you want to keep that top 10 position.
Yeah, right behind him is Daniel Pope right now. Daniel Pope, a real-world late model driver. I believe he won his first late model race of the year last week. So Daniel up on a high right now, trying to get a good win here at Martinsville in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
Your running order right now, top 5, Josh Parker, Ray Alfala, Josh Berry, Thomas Hazard, and Brad Davies. That's your top 5.
And you look back there, battle for second place happening. Ray Alfala, Josh Berry, they're going at it. I tell you what, it's a fantastic battle so far as Josh Berry trying to close in, Ray Alfala trying to pull away. Josh Parker would love to see them go side by side, and that would let him pull away from the rest of this field.
Yeah, these guys are very smart. Alfala up front. Berry will definitely challenge him if he can. But these guys right now are doing a good job putting in laps. And they got a nice clean spot in the track right now, nice and safe, no lap traffic right in front of them, and they're pretty safe right now. Working lap number 83, still a long way to go in this race.
Pick them up and put them down. Continue to click off the laps here as lap number 83 is complete. Lap number 84 goes up onto the board for your top contenders here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And here's what we want you to do. We want you to experience the rage, the inferno that is Martinsville Speedway. So grab those speakers and crank them all the way to the right. Crank them as far as they can go. Don't worry about the neighbors and deal with the police later on. After all, this is racing. It's only good when it's loud, baby. Let's crank it all the way up here at Martinsville Speedway.
Ben Sexton and Jesse Atchison battling side by side in front of your leader. It's got to get Josh Parker that little bit more up on the wheel, Nim.
Yep, and look like the 33 car of Ben Sexton here he's not giving out as good as he did before. Now he moves over, and now they're coming up on the number 5 car, Jesse Atchison. Jesse Atchison, being that he has a number 5 on his car, is the 5th ranked driver in this race. So you can see how the competition is. You're the 5th ranked driver in this race, and right now he's back fighting in for around 35th or 36th position.
And about to be lapped by the 23rd ranked driver in this race. And what this does is it closes up the top 3 as Parker has to navigate lap traffic. And as we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago at Bristol, there's nothing saying that Jesse Atchison has to get out of the way for Josh Parker. Jesse Atchison has every right to run his line, and it looks like the yellow flag is flown.
And it's a saving grace for Jesse Atchison. Of course, he was fighting to stay on the lead lap, and with that caution flag, he will stay on the lead lap, as will some of the drivers just directly in front of your leader.
Looks like Chad Coleman got in the back of Greg Spears right at the apex of corner number 3 and 4 and pushed him around coming off for the 27 car. Got into the outside wall. That's Jason Anderson. He got a little bit of damage off of that, but right now that caution caused by the number 37 and 38 car, Chad Coleman and Greg Spears.
Leaders lead parade down pit road here at Martinsville Speedway. Josh Parker leads the field down onto pit road. He'll come to the attention of his pit crew, and he'll come to a perfect stop in his pit stall as the crew goes to work on the number 23.
And the 3 last time by a Thomas Hazard won the race off pit road. Let's see who has the quick pit work this time. 23 looking pretty good coming off of pit road. Josh Parker gets out there, but I believe Brad Davies might be right out in front of him. Indeed he is. Maybe some strategy being worked on by the number 14.
Yeah, possibly 2 tires. I heard some drivers talking earlier tonight that 2 tires might be an option in this race, so we'll see what that 2 tires work. But that was a pretty long green flag run there. I'm not sure I would want to try that 2 tire deal right now.
The drivers will take this opportunity to catch their breath, and we will do the same. We'll take a break here on PSR TV. We'll be back, and we'll take you back to green. You're watching the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship right here on PSR TV.
One to go.
Welcome back as we get set, the green flag in hand. Green flag flies. We are back underway here at Martinsville. We promised we'd get back for the green flag, and we did exactly what we said. Green flag, we are back underway at Martinsville Speedway.
And Darrell is slower pace to that restart. Brad Davies was the leader. He controlled the pace. Josh Parker went a little bit earlier compared to what Brad Davies did on this restart, as the top 6 or 7 are single file. Looks like John Gorlinski might be falling under fire around 7th or 8th place.
Yeah, the top guys get sorted out pretty quick here right now. We'll see if Brad Davies on those little older tires, we believe he's on little older tires. We'll have to double check that. But right now he's doing a real good job out front.
Interesting story to follow up on. Josh Berry and Derek Wood have found themselves once again near each other on the racetrack again.
And it looks like the caution flag is back out in the 40 of Patrick Fogel. Your early leader is up against the safer barrier in corner number 2. That's a tough break for Patrick Fogel, as now that car has damage on both sides of the race car.
Yeah, it looks like Patrick had some connection issues in the race, and he was blinking in and out, and he got some contact by some other cars. He got some heavy damage on that car, though. The 24 car got him. That was John Prather, and just a lot of damage on that car. You can see it's not tracking real well either.
This could get very interesting very, very quickly here, Tim, as we get set to go back to green flag racing very soon. Josh Berry finds himself right back in the same position he was not too long ago. He will be right back in the same location as Derek Wood. Wood and Berry they've got some unfinished business, Tim.
Indeed they do. That might be something to keep a half eye on. Keep an eye on the lead as well. See when Brad Davies goes. And, of course, Josh Parker will be waiting to lick his chops to see when that leader does decide to go on the green flag, Nim.
Yeah, Parker likes to go early. Davies more or less goes when they get around turn 3 and 4. But we'll see what they do this time.
Booth to car communications, we believe, with Steve Sheehan. Steve, you got me?
Yeah, bud.
Steve sitting back there in 19th place, right there in the eye of the storm. How are things looking from your seat?
Oh, things are looking crazy. I've gotten run over a lot. I have all 4 fenders on the car. They're not straight, but they're on the car, so I just really want to survive.
You've been in this sim racing game for quite some time, bud. You're not some newbie fresh off the street, but kind of new to this whole championship series kind of deal. What are you thinking about it so far?
Oh, it's a blast. These are all the best guys in the business as far as sim racing on ovals is concerned, so I'm very proud to be here, like I said, before the first race. It's just getting acclimated to how the car drives and how to run these races. You got to run it very, very hard, and you really got to kind of take no prisoners here, especially at the short tracks. So hopefully I get a nice tax return. I can buy some new fenders for this thing, huh?
You might need it. Any thought about taking 2 tires, maybe play some strategy, get to the front?
Yeah, sooner or later. Granted, I don't have too much damage. My car is really fast. I just had a terrible qualifying effort, and I put myself back here in the eye of the storm, like you said. Sooner or later, I'm going to roll the dice here. I can't wait too long.
All right, we're going to let Steve go. We're going green flag racing. That's Steve Sheehan, driver of the Tax Slayer sponsored ride, and we'll talk to Steve a little bit later on as he gets set to go back to work in the Tax Slayer sponsored entry. Green flag flies. We are back underway.
And on the inside, Josh Parker gets to second place. Ray Alfala and Josh Berry go side by side for position number 3. Down the back straightaway they go. Berry has the advantage on the outside line, but Alfala will pull even through the corner. Alfala going to go to 3rd.
Berry's going to drop in 4th. Right behind them, we have Thomas Hazard and Derek Wood. Actually, Derek Wood drops into the 5th place. Hazard back to 6th.
Wood once again right behind Josh Berry. You've got to wonder if Derek Wood's going to put a bumper to Josh Berry. Remind Josh Berry that Derek Wood has once again caught him.
And 4th and 5th place is where to keep that eye right now. And just in front of them, here comes Ray Alfala poking the nose of that Chevrolet Impala underneath the number 23 of Josh Parker. He almost had position number 2.
We have a pretty good battle all the way back through the top 15 here. Everybody's kind of real close to each other. Possible bumpers on some other cars right now, but trouble in 3 and 4. Sandeep Banerjee involved. He is around in turn number 3 and 4. Sandeep, our driver racing with us from India.
They attempted a 3-wide move, and it almost never works here at Martinsville Speedway. 3-wide, usually not the greatest here at Martinsville Speedway. So we'll once again line them up and get set for a restart. And Tim, these drivers, they're going to get these restart things down pat after enough races here at Martinsville Speedway, because the restarts, they rule here at Martinsville.
And we saw that, Darryl, where these guys were racing towards that inside line. You want to get down there and you want to protect your position. And I think we'll see a little bit later, we see a lot of give early in this race. There won't be a lot of give. Let's say when we get to about 100 laps down the road at about lap 210 or so, we'll see a lot less give and a lot more take on these restarts. And Nim, you mentioned the international drivers that we have with us here this evening, not faring well so far. Of course, Richard Towler is out of this race. Florian Goddard, 7 laps back. We just saw Sandeep have trouble. He's currently scored in 32nd place. And Connor McKenzie right now, the leading international driver from Truro, Nova Scotia, Canada, and he's up there just outside the top 10 and 13th.
Yeah, a lot of drivers from all over the world, obviously racing here at iRacing, and if you like what you see here, you can get involved also. iRacing has more than 1,500 official races that happen every week, race 24/7, and you can even race private leagues and start up your own private league if you wish. 22 of the world's finest race cars here at iRacing that are officially licensed and authentically reproduced. They have 45 of the world's finest racetracks that are reproduced down to the millimeter. So if you like what you see here, go over and stop by www.iracing.com, and you can check out the promotion we got going on right now, where you buy 1 month and get 2 months free. So give it a try and see how you like it, and come join us here and race at iRacing.
And one of the coolest features is the private league racing. I love the private league racing here within the iRacing format. And Tim Terry, you're fresh off a win in the private league racing not that long ago, albeit not the most orthodox format win, but a win nonetheless. You won yourself an Enduro, buddy.
Yeah, my car kind of looked like Florian Goddard's race car right now, bent in on all four corners. But I tell you what, the hosted sessions are the way to go if you're not into the official sessions and in building your safety rating or your I rating. Pace car lights are off the pace car. We're going green next time by. And, of course, Nim, another way to keep track of all the goings-on in the sim community and in the iRacing community, in racingnews.com. David Phillips has put together a great league of reporters over there. And, of course, I have to toot my own horn. I'm one of them over there. But I tell you what, blanket coverage of iRacing at inracingnews.com.
Yep, not only that, you get your real-world racing news over there also. So a lot of information.
Green flag flies. We're back underway, and Brad Davies is your race leader. And look at the high side. Josh Berry trying to get it done up top.
Ray Alfalla didn't appreciate Josh Parker coming down on him, gave him a little shot in corner number 2. Parker into second, Ray Alfalla back to third as we have the caution lights on.
Yeah, car number 43, Jordan Hightower, is around in corner number 2.
So Jordan Hightower experiencing some woes here at Martinsville Speedway, and that'll slow this field down again. And Davies, Parker, Alfalla, Berry, and Woods still your top 5, and unable to really get this thing back underway and get some more long green flag runs in. And we had a decent long green flag run, at least for Martinsville, a decent long green flag run. And I would love to see another decent green flag run. Still 10 laps away from that halfway point here at Martinsville.
And I feel we're going to get some green flag racing in here, but I did mention just a few laps ago to try to get that race to the low line on these restarts to protect that low groove. And we saw it there on that last restart. Josh Parker, I'm not sure if you could fit a piece of paper in between he and Ray Alfalla when he cut down to that low line. And Ray Alfalla and him did not appreciate it, gave him a little shot at a corner number 2. That might be a building rivalry maybe to watch if Josh Parker and Ray Alfalla race like that again, maybe on this next restart.
Yeah, it's tough, you know. When you're on the outside lane, you need to get down the inside or you're going to drop a bunch of positions. This is just tough short track racing in Martinsville. It's normal stuff. Even when the drivers get bent out of shape a little bit about it, it's what's going to happen, and they need to realize that. Last time we had Sandeep again get in the wall a little bit coming down the front straight. It looks like that car is not tracking quite straight anymore, so I think Sandeep Energy having some problems tonight.
Sandeep has found himself in some difficulty yet again here within the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship as the pace car circles the racetrack here in Martinsville, and these drivers line up behind said pace car. The lights stay on one more lap around this racetrack. And Tim, thus far, these drivers have spent more time behind the pace car than they have up on the wheel. But the amount of time these drivers have been up on the wheel has been absolutely thrilling, to say the least. And some absolutely exciting racing action thus far. I can't wait to see what these drivers have in store for us.
We've seen the rivalries begin to build and maybe even spark off some brand new rivalries, and that's only in the first 118 laps of this race. We still have over half the race to go, and I'm sure we're going to see some green flag racing in here, and we're going to see some more fenders bent before we reach lap 250. The lights are out atop the Ford Mustang pace car, which means next time by we will see that green flag fly once again.
Brad Davies brings him down the back straightaway. He's got Josh Parker up on that outside. Parker leaving a little bit of gap, maybe hoping there'll be some space there, as the pace car does stay out this time. So we're going to go another lap before we get that green flag. I'm sorry, pace car is off. And the green flag's out.
Green flag flies. We're back underway, and Parker dives down to the inside, clears the number 6 of Ray Alfala. Now Parker down to the inside of the number 4 of Brad Davies. Battle for the top spot down the backstretch. They drag race off into turn number 3. Side by side and 2 deep here at Martinsville. Parker has the lead off from turn number 4.
And here comes Ray Alfala, the inside Alfala, trying to stick Brad Davies to the high side once again. Ray Alfala to second. Now what does Josh Berry do? Does Josh Berry stick the nose in there? Indeed he does. Brad Davies going to go back to at least third place. Train coming through, and Brad Davies trying to find a spot in line.
Derek Wood's going to try to make an inside move coming down corner number 1, but Davies has that spot covered. Yellow flag is out.
'36 car, Florian Goddard around this time on the backstretch, was slowed down and got tapped and sent around was Florian Goddard. So Goddard off the pace, and around he went on the backstretch here at Martinsville Speedway, and that'll put a damper on an already damp day for Florian Goddard. Josh Parker continues to lead. Ray Alfala sits in second. Josh Berry is third. Brad Davies is fourth, and fifth is Derek Wood. Sixth belongs to Thomas Hazard. Seventh is John Gorlinski. Then it's Daniel Pope the second, Brad Wright, and Nolan Scott.
11th through 20th right now. Darrell sees Richie Davidowitz in 11th, Brian Schoenberg in 12th, and Brian Schoenberg's car in that last restart resembled a pinball. He was in the middle 3 wide on that start. He is scored in 12th. 13th belongs to Connor McKenzie. 14th is Darren Stevens. 15th is Stephen Sheehan. Jeremy Allen in 16th. 17th, Jason Burstein. Andrew Fayash, Chris Main, and Vinny Sansone, your top 20.
21st on back finds Matthew Moose in the 21st position. 22nd is Greg Spears. Pedro Mojica is 23rd. 24th is Thomas Lewandowski. 25th is John Prather. 26th is Jesse Atchison, followed by Justin Tremblay. Jean Costas worked his way up to 28th after starting 43rd here tonight. Jason Anderson is 29th, and rounding out your top 30 is Chad Coleman.
31st through 40th sees Jordan Hightower and Sandeep Banerjee. Those are the last 2 drivers on our lead lap right now. Byron Daly scored his 1 lap back. Josh Lawton 2 laps behind the pace. Tyler Hudson 4 laps back after having electrical problems earlier in the show. Florian Goddard 7 back, Ben Sexton 15 back, Patrick Fogel 21 back, Dana Weimer 27 back, and Jameson Spies 41 behind the pace.
Josh Connors is 66 laps off the pace. Richard Towler's 101 down, and Stephen Gilbert is 117 laps down from your race leader, Josh Parker. That's your entire field rundown here with the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, brought to you by PSR TV. As these drivers get set to return to green flag racing action, we anticipate the lights going out next time by the stripe. And Tim, the action should heat up very, very soon, as we are at the halfway point, 125 laps complete.
Cross flags out that last time by, and we mentioned it, the 4 of Brad Davies on his last stop taking 2 tires. I think we're starting to see the 2 tires possibly not pay off. We saw enough green flag racing there in that little spurt to knock him back to position number 4. We'll have to see. He's on the outside line. We'll have to see if he continues to fall back through this field, or if he can stabilize somewhere here in the top 10, Darrell.
Lights are out atop the pace car as we get set to go back to green flag racing action. The drivers work their way down the backstretch here at Martinsville Speedway. They'll work their way towards turn number 3. The pace car will make that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. Tim Terry, let's go green flag racing.
Pace car is in. We are getting ready to see the green flag flies, and once again Josh Parker sets the pace in the middle of the corner. Now it's Alfala and Berry battling for second.
Alfala got a really good start there on the outside line. He's able to slot down into the second spot. Berry wanted to challenge, but we have a caution out.
We're hearing the 13 car of Richie Davidowitz involved in this one. Tough break for Richie Davidowitz, the main Performance PC sponsored ride. May have had some help from the 7 of Brian Schoenberg, although Richie Davidowitz kept it off the wall, but may have had just a little bit of help going around, as may have locked up the brakes here at Martinsville Speedway. But kept it off the wall. That's no small feat here at Martinsville, but a little bit harder on the brakes than Schoenberg expected, and around went Richie.
And trying to keep those fenders clean is very, very key here at this place. And you want to talk about Brian Schoenberg. Brian Schoenberg trying to keep the whole car clean and nim. It's been a handful for Brian Schoenberg. He's been in the middle 3 wide. He's been up to the front. He's been out at the back. And now he sits in 10th place. And he's got scuff marks all over that beautiful number 7 race car.
Yeah, he's had a rough night of it tonight, but still in the top 10 and still holding on to a good finish. So hopefully he can have a little bit better luck going forward and see what happens from here.
So a couple of the stories that we've been following here tonight. Josh Berry and Derek Wood got into it early on in the race, and they will be nose to tail for this restart, as they will be on the inside line. And how's that going to work out with the number 6 of Ray Alfala trying to get down to that inside line just ahead of that number 2 machine of Josh Berry? As Berry, I don't think he's going to be willing to give anybody any quarter. Not because Barry doesn't want to give the number 6 any room, but because I believe he knows that the 8 machine of Derek Wood isn't going to give him any room with which he can give the number 6 any room. So I don't think there's going to be any room to spare there.
You hit the nail on the head there, Daryl. You don't want to let those guys in. Of course, it would be common courtesy, but right now, I don't think the courtesy right now is going to be first and foremost in their minds as we work lap number 133. And Josh Berry, of course, as you mentioned, will have to look up in his rearview mirror and see, hey, Derek Wood's behind me. We've had this problem before, and even earlier in the race. This could very well get interesting in a hurry. We expect the pace car lights to go off this time by, and they do. And next time by, we are going green flag racing. We will be racing on lap 135. We work lap 134 right now.
Right on top of Josh Berry's car, as you can see Josh Parker right ahead of him. 2 Joshes here up on the inside line. Ray Alfala right there to the outside. It's going to want to get a good start here on this restart and try to hold on to that second position.
Green flag flies. Berry trying to get up as close as he could to Josh Parker. Berry trying to stuff it down to the inside of the number 6 of Alfala. Ray Alfala slides up the racetrack. Here comes Berry. Berry challenging for the number 2 spot.
Stuck the nose in there, and now he's going to get second place for it. Now, where does Ray Alfala drop to? Brad Davies on the inside. Brad Davies going to take the position. We're wrecking behind them.
Looks like John Prather, the 26 car, is around on the front straight away.
So John Prather goes around on the front stretch, and that'll bring out the yellow flag. That's the Tax Slayer sponsored ride of John Prather, and he's going to need to file his taxes and hope for a good return. Although using that Tax Slayer software, he should get a pretty darn good return, and he'll be able to pay for some of the repairs needed on that Tax Slayer ride.
Looks like in that last caution flag, Darren Stevens got sideways coming out corner number 4, got down the inside wall, and then that caused a checkup the whole way back the line, and that's what got the rest of the cars in trouble.
Let's take a quick break here on PSR TV. We'll be back with more of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real-world cars and tracks. Thousands of race fans and scores of pro racers like Dale Jr. and Justin Wilson are already racing at iRacing. Experience the thrill of victory yourself and go racing today at iRacing.com.
Green flag flies. We are back underway, and welcome back here on PSR TV. Josh Parker is your race leader. Josh Berry sits in second spot, and the Josh and Josh show is back underway.
What a fantastic start for your leader, but Ray Alfala hung out trying to find a hole in line, and boy, oh boy, he sliced it in front of the 3, but the 3 is going to get underneath him. Oh, maybe not. They finally found single file racing somehow.
Yeah, Ray got up off the concrete through 1 and 2 there on the restart. That cost him about 3 spots as he's being scored in the 5th spot coming around, so it cost him only 2 spots. That moves Derek Wood up into the 4th place.
'38 and the 25 got together just a little bit. Both drivers save it and continue on in the right direction. As a result, we stay green flag racing. Parker, Berry, Davies, Wood, Alfala, your top 5.
And this lead is about to get pretty good as you ride on board the roof. Boy, oh boy, the 2 closing in on the number 23. I think the 2 with Josh Berry, that setup just might be about time to hit the sweet spot and start reeling that number 23 in.
Yeah, Josh Berry, obviously a very accomplished short track driver. Only about 2 car lengths off of Parker right now, but Parker's strong, man. We saw Parker all last year mature in this division and doing a great job out front here, looking very clean all night long. And Josh looks like Josh Berry, that is, looks like he's got his hands full with Parker right now. Parker doing a good job out front, and Berry looks like he's staying about the same distance.
That gap between first and second looks like it's leveling out and sort of equidistancing itself, I guess. We'll create a word here on PSR TV. Equidistancing is our new word as the 18 and 34 get together. The 18 goes around, yellow flag flies as Jeremy Allen is the latest victim of the Martinsville jinx as we go back under yellow flag conditions here in Virginia.
And Jeremy Allen sits in 18th in the point standings. We talked about the 2 drop races. You don't want to have to drop one of these races, especially early. We have pit stops, and we got 1 car staying out. The 23, though, coming down onto pit road. The 6 of Ray Alfala staying out on the racetrack while everybody else visits pit road.
Yeah, we still got about 100 laps to go from here, so Right now we're working lap number 149. By the time we get green flag, we'll have about 98 laps to go. These guys are still going to need another pit stop. Well, it depends on if we get to keep a lot of cautions flagged. These may be the last pit stops that we see from some of these guys. So I don't know. Maybe some of these guys thinking that could be a last stop, depending on how many caution flags we get from here. It's not a fuel issue; it's a tire issue.
Frank Kimmel and Parker Kligerman want to come in and color commentate a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship race, and I don't know if we have room in the booth here. I don't know, man. I'd have to look and see if we have it in our budget for the catering. I mean, we only get one bag of Skittles up here, Tim.
You know, Frosty St. Clair said on Saturday he was ordering pizza. We never got it at Zandvoort. We don't have it here. I don't know, Nim. I think somehow it's Frosty's fault.
Well, somebody better get the catering going because I've been promised it all night and I haven't seen it yet.
I'm sorry. I told you I ate all the Skittles. I got hungry during the first half of the race. Frank Kimmel and Parker Kligerman, you guys want to swing in? You guys can swing in. We have no problem with that. Come on in. We'll have some fun. You can hang out with us here in the booth, and we'll get you involved in some of this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship action. We welcome you to PSR TV. We'd love to have you here with us in the booth. Well, I got to warn you, it's a little bit hectic up here at times, and you don't want to be up here on a night that Nim has had cabbage. Not telling you why, just you don't want to be up here on a night that Nim has had cabbage. Ray Alfala and John Gorlinski are your race leaders. Vinny Sansone and Andrew Fayash III sit in second and third. Green flag flies, older tires up at the front of the field. We are back underway.
Fantastic start for Ray Alfala. He pops out to a 3-car length lead. They're side by side behind him. Gorlinski trying to use the high side around Sansone, and side by side behind him, here comes Parker.
Yeah, Vinny Sansone down the inside trying to hold that position, but Gorlinski up on the outside giving him a hard time. These guys on older tires, and they are holding up the field behind them. This is a recipe for disaster up here right now. As Sansone gets sideways right there, he gets into Parker just a little bit.
Josh Parker trying to be as patient as he possibly can, but he knows he's got Josh Berry all over his back bumper, so Parker can't afford to be too patient. You look out the rear bumper of Josh Parker's number 23, and all you see is the number 2 of Josh Berry.
You want to push to the front of the field, but you don't want to do it in the fact to wreck your race car and put yourself out of the race. As the caution lights are on once again, it looks like Josh Parker will have another restart to try to get through this field, Nim.
Yeah, it's one thing, you know, it's when you make a pit stop, you're taking a big risk because there's some guys that are going to stay out, and you're no longer going to be up in that safe area up in front. As we see right now, Josh Berry and Josh Parker, you know, they got some guys that are fighting pretty hard right in front of them, and that could take their race, which has been very clean so far, and in just one instance, you know, that could be a problem.
Hey, you know, I just figured something out. Tim, you and I have always wanted to take our turn in some big-time race cars. I think Kimmel and Kligerman could make that happen for us. We could trade, man. We could trade. We'll trade for a week. You and I will take a week off, okay? We'll take a week off. They can announce the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and we'll drive their race cars. It'll be a train wreck both ways.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking the same thing there, Daryl. You know, I think between you and I and Tim that, you know, if they took our jobs, we took theirs, I think that it might be a good challenge to see who would actually do the better job.
they would do better at my job than I would do at theirs. First and foremost, they'd need a shoehorn to get me into the car. And then just the process of disinfecting the car and cleaning it out when I was done in there would be absolutely terrifying. I wouldn't want to have to do that because I'd be terrified. And you know what happens when a person gets that scared, and I wouldn't want to have to clean that place out.
You might get a ride to the end of the season.
Hey, Daryl, I've seen you before in one of these iRacing cars. I believe we raced late models here a couple of weeks ago. Is Kligerman and Kimmel going to give us a little bit of hints and how to drive these race cars before we put you in there?
No, heck no, because we're not going to give them any hints on how to call these races. You know, they've seen it on TV as far as the broadcast goes, and we've seen it on TV as far as the racing goes, and I think fair's fair, man. Fair's fair. They jump in the booth, we jump in the race cars, man.
I think that's a pretty fair deal for that one, as it looks like we might be going green this next time by. Lights are out. We are going green flag next time by. So, Nim, this is going to get exciting. We have some drivers up in front, 3 drivers, in fact, top 3 that are on older tires, and then you have Josh Parker on the outside that's just looking to get to the front of the field at all costs.
Getting set to go back to green flag racing. We will, at our next available opportunity, next yellow flag, we have Richard Towler ready to talk to us, and we'll talk to the current world champion. Green flag flies. We are underway. Richard Towler standing by. We're under green flag conditions.
And we're side-by-side racing back here for a second. John Gorlinski trying to hold on. Josh Parker on the outside, though. He's got shuffled out to the outside. Brad Davies and Josh Berry underneath the 23 slide in the corner.
Yeah, Parker lost a lot of spots there on that last restart. He got hung out a little bit there, and he still hung out on the outside line.
Parker stuck to the outside, side by side with Davies, as now Berry trying to find room to the inside of the number 25. Parker on the outside of Davies. Davies cements the pass on Parker.
And Parker slams the door on Thomas Hazard right behind him. Derek Wood closing in on Hazard, looking to make a position. Sansone falling back. Action. Oh, 23, 25 into it.
Yeah, this is why you take a big risk when you make those pit stops. He gets caught out with a guy on older tires. The guy on older tires spins out, takes him out, and his good night is over.
Heartbreak for Josh Parker, as he's got a severely damaged number 23, and that's going to hurt him. That's going to hurt him a lot, and that's not going to make JP very, very happy. Josh Parker will be coming down pit road, and this is going to make him very, very unhappy. He was one of our fastest drivers all night long, Tim.
Yeah, I don't want to be down there in that hauler area, in that pit crew area when Josh Parker climbs from that race car at the end of this event. I would say he's probably not the happiest driver in Martinsville, Virginia right now. You see the front end damage on that race car. He overshoots the box to boot, and the crew will go to work on that car.
Joshua Lofton there had a lot of damage on that wreck. Again, I remember earlier in the race he got in an incident early on in the race, and then after the wreck was over, he pulled down in front and took out Richard Towler. I think again here he gets involved in an incident and doesn't stay on the brakes, and that had some issues here with getting in some more people when he could have possibly avoided some of that. So he needs to, somebody needs to tell him he needs to hold on to those brakes when he gets involved in an incident.
Looks like we may have an opportunity to get some words with the current world champion, Richard Towler. Richard, Daryl Morley here with PSR TV. You got me, bud?
Yep, I do.
Richard, it's been a hectic few months here. You've been a world champion, and here we are at the beginning of this season, a season that everybody said, you know what, it's Richard's championship to win, and it hasn't quite gone the way you were hoping it would, bud.
No, it's been a real busy time, but just been involved in a lot of just racing deals, really. I mean, there's been nothing I could do about the incidents I've been involved in. I've just been driving around, and just even been getting run over, or someone slammed the car into reverse gear in front of me. But You know, that's just the way racing goes at times. There's nothing you can do about it.
Is there time in this championship hunt for Richard Towler to bounce back from this?
I would say no, but I would have to run top 3 for the rest of the season to have any kind of shot at the championship. But I'm not going to give up. I'll just keep trying my best every race and take a few risks and go for the wins.
Has the glow worn off from winning $10,000 and being named the first ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Champion?
No, I don't think it has, but it's something that I've never really got hung up on before. It's something I've achieved, and that's great, and I've had some great opportunities come from it as well, which has been awesome, and I'm still enjoying those to this day, so I'm a very happy person at the moment, regardless of what's happening on track.
Richard, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day, and I know that it hasn't been the night that you wanted it to be. We've had some contact on the track as the number 22 of Gorlinski gets into Ray Alfala. Richard, hopefully we can talk to you a little bit later on, buddy.
I tell you what, Harold, the 6 of Ray Alfala got shuffled out of line. He's trying to find his rhythm back. Right behind him, 21 and 4 going at it.
Yeah, that's Daniel Pope and Brad Davies going at it back there for the 5th position. But and then now the 2 gets underneath the 22, and there's a little bit of contact. The 2 lets him get it back under control, but Gorlinski was able to get that back under control, and Josh Berry did apologize for that contact.
Gorlinski is your race leader. Josh Berry sits in 2nd spot, and I wouldn't think that Josh Berry is going to wait much longer to try to put Gorlinski in his rearview mirror.
No, we're closing in on 75 laps to go. You do not want to stay in behind John Gorlinski at this point if you're Josh Berry and you have fresh tires. You want to get out, you want to lead this thing, and you want to lead it till lap 250. Everybody getting single file for now after a couple of close calls at the front, a couple of close checkups for these drivers in the front of the field.
Caution flag is out. The 26 is in trouble on the back straightaway. That's John Prather.
The 6 car will head down pit road after the issue on the racetrack as the 6 car on pit road. That is Ray Alfala, our current points leader. Late race pit stop for Ray Alfala. This could be a race changer.
It could very well be. It might not be too bad if he can get those 4 tires and get up to the front of the field. It's just a matter of how many guys pit in front of him from now to the end of the race and how easy traffic is to navigate. And we've seen before here, Nim, traffic can be a nightmare at Martinsville.
Yeah, but the last caution when everybody pitted, Ray stayed out, and you see some of the contact he had there on just this couple of green flag laps, just because he didn't have the same tires as everybody else did. So he needs to get those fresh tires, or he's going to be worked over, for the rest of the time. We got 75 laps to go from here, and that's going to. We have actually some trouble under caution here.
Looked like the 26 was faking down pit road, then decided not to drive down pit road, and driving back out onto the racetrack got into the 32 of Nolan Scott, and around went Scott hard into the outside wall. Nolan Scott now with some serious damage to his race car, and that's a tough turn of events for Nolan Scott. And the 26 said, you know what? I think I'm going to pit now.
And just like we see in NASCAR's top series as well, if you go past that commitment line, past that commitment cone, you're committed to coming on to pit road. John Prather at the last minute decided he didn't want to come down pit road. He cut back out onto the racetrack, and it just so happened that Nolan Scott was there. Tough break all around for those drivers. Lights are out. We are going racing. Next time by 177 being worked on the board.
You know, the only thing I can think of a good reason for that happening is, it's not a good reason, to have an accident like that, but he was trying to get some adjustments made on his car, and he was bringing up the screens he needed to do that, to adjust his pressures or track bar or whatever he wanted to adjust, and didn't have it finished yet, and that's why he didn't pit and maybe pulled back out. But that's the only thing I can think of for a move like that.
Here we go. Green flag flies. We are back underway. And maybe we'll ask him exactly what happened. 3 wide going into turn number 1 here at Martinsville.
Oh boy, that's not going to work. The 8 back down in front of traffic after hitting the wall. Oh boy, heavy damage to the Derek Wood race car. And those cars, we see synchronized swimming. That we just saw some synchronized spinning there, Nim.
Yeah, the 8 car tried to dive down there and make it 3 wide, and he drove in so hard he wasn't able to keep it on the bottom, and he slipped up. Even though the 21 gave him some room, he hit the 21 up in the 3, and then when he checked up, the 12 got in the back of him. But Derek Wood got a little piece of that going in corner number 1.
Short track racing often has yellow flags, and Tim, short track racing here at Martinsville, oh, we have some yellow flags, don't we?
Indeed we do. We've seen our share of yellow fever here this evening, but with yellow fever also comes restarts, and we've seen some fantastic restarts. We've seen some moves on restarts, as we saw in this one, that we didn't think that we would see, but it's at that point, Nim, where guys are going to be aggressive. They are going to take every piece of real estate that they can, because we are getting down to about that time. We're looking at 70 laps to go, and they do not want to give anything away to any of these drivers.
Yeah, as most definitely, as Wood gets on pit road right now, he's got a lot of heavy damage to the right side of that car. I don't know if the toe's knocked in or not. They'll probably check that on this pit stop, but you still got to race smart. 75 laps to go. You can't win it on this lap, but you can certainly lose it, just like lap number 1. So you still got to race smart. But you're right, Martinsville, short track. None of these guys want to lose any positions, and they're all going to be racing, maybe to the point to where they're not giving it all, and then they need to.
Derek Wood on pit road trying to get some service done to the number 8 car, as that's going to need quite a bit of service and quite a bit of work to get that car back in shape. And don't forget, fans, you want to keep up with all the latest news and information here with PSR TV and all the happenings. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/PSRTV. Also follow us and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/PSRTV. That's twitter.com/PSRTV and facebook.com/PSRTV, your social networking websites for PSRTV.
And the great thing about it as well, Daryl, you get the upcoming news and notes on some of these drivers as the pace car lights are off. I know from Saturday's race there was news coming in about the My3ID drivers, about drivers that were going to make the race and drivers that weren't. It's a great way to keep up to date with not only the NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship, but the iRacing World Championship Series Road Racing. Great way to keep abreast of all the racing action. Pace car about to duck in.
Pace car back. Here we go. Green flag flies. We are back underway. Gorlinski leads him down into turn number 1. Josh Berry on the back bumper of Gorlinski. Berry once again needs to get by Gorlinski as quick as he can before the advantage of those newer tires goes away.
Number 2 with Josh Berry chasing the number 22. Their single file for the time being. Look at Chris Main as well. Main up into the top 10. There's guys starting to show their faces in these final 100 laps of this event.
You have John Gorlinski right now out front, a little bit older tires, but it's still hard to get position, especially when you got a driver like Gorlinski who's out front and running very smooth laps. Josh Berry is definitely faster, but it's hard to get a run off the corner and get beside him going down to the next corner. So right now Gorlinski's in the catbird seat.
I don't know that I'd want to switch places with John Gorlinski. That might not be the best place to be. As we look at the 13 and the 14, Richie Davidowitz and Matthew Moose having a nice battle here as we're going back up to car number 4 now. Never mind, we're going to go back up to Brad Davies as Davies trying to find his way by the number 34 car. The 34 is a lap machine.
Yeah, 34 car.
Sheehan. And that's Steve Sheehan up there, Daryl, running in position number 3, but not on the scoring monitor. In position number 3 as you ride on board with Brad Davies looking up at the Tax Slayer race car. He wants to keep up there, Nim. If these 2 leaders slip up, he can get that lap back.
Yep, Davies is 2 laps down right now. I'm sorry, not Davies, but Sheehan is 2 laps down right now. He needs to get 2 laps back. He definitely wants to keep up there where he can right now. He's definitely going to have another caution here very soon. 60 laps to go. Still plenty of time. Davies just needs to be smart right now. Let him ride. That car up front right there is not really a factor for him right now. When the next caution comes out, he'll be going.
Again, Steve Sheehan has every right to take up whatever real estate he needs to take up to run his line. If Brad Davies is faster, it's up to Brad Davies to find his way by. Now, here comes John Gorlinski having to navigate some lap traffic of his own. Gorlinski will be closing in on some traffic. The 8 machine of Derek Wood. Wood will slide to the high side. Wood gets out of the way. Wood wanted lap traffic to get out of his way. He's lap traffic. He'll slide up out of the leader's way.
And they nearly stacked up back there with that number 8 of Derek Wood falling a lap down. Nevertheless, the number 22 and the number 2 continue to lead this race. The 2 with Josh Berry looking for the hole to open. You would think, Nim, with some of this lap traffic, he might be able to stick that nose underneath John Gorlinski.
Yeah, that's where he might get his best shot, is when he comes up on this lap traffic, if that catches him up a little bit coming off the corner. But right now you can see Gorlinski car is hooked up coming off the corner right now. Barry is also hooked up coming off the corner, but he can't get position going down front straightaway. These cars all have equal horsepower. It's all about the setups you have underneath the cars. And these guys spend hundreds of hours during the weeks to tune on these setups and make sure they have a better car. But as far as horsepower goes, it's all about how they put the horsepower down, and they all have the same amount of horsepower.
Watching the number 6 of Ray Alfala deep in this field as he's made his pit stop. He's got some fresh tires, worked his way by Josh Parker, the freshly damaged number 23 of Josh Parker. Ray Alfala works his way up into the 14th position, make it possibly 13th. Yes, Ray Alfala's in 13th.
That was Lewandowski. He just passed. Right in front of him is Justin Tremblay. As you look up at 13th, Richie Davidowitz. Davidowitz underneath the number 31 of Andrew Fayash. He's going to make that position as well. Move Richie Davidowitz up to 9th.
We got a battle going on up here in the 2nd position, but it's not for position. It's for the lap car, John Prather. Josh Berry got a little squirrely coming off the corner last time, and then Prather took that position underneath him, but Berry didn't like it. I'm sorry, Steve Sheehan. Berry didn't like it so much, and these guys have been battling for a couple of laps, trying to get Berry trying to get that position back.
Third place could be contested here unless Steve Sheehan holds up that number 3 car of Thomas Hazard. Hazard's really come on pretty strong here as of late.
Hazard has had a fantastic race car. Of course, he won at Bristol. He knows how to get these short track races in and under his belt. Don't count out the 3 as we work forward in these final 50 laps. We work lap 200.
And remember, Hazard is our runner-up in the points right now. Alfala back in the 11th position. Hazard up in the fourth position. It looked like somebody blew a motor on the front straightaway.
14th in points, Thomas Lewandowski has blown up, and I believe the yellow flag will now come out. That'll slow this field down.
Tough break for him to put him out of the event, and he was running in the top 10 or flirting with that top 10, and anytime you can get a top 10 finish in this series, whether it's Martinsville or anywhere else, it's a great thing to be.
Yeah, 50 laps to go from this point forward, 49 now as we cross the line. We'll see if anybody makes a pit stop. If nobody makes a pit stop, Alfala running back there in the 10th position. Remember, he's got fresher tires than all these guys in front of him, and he's doing his good job working his way back up through.
Here they come. They're all heading down pit road. Gorlinski leads the field down pit road, and there goes that advantage that Barry was going to have with fresher tires.
Indeed it is. These guys come down onto pit road. John Gorlinski looking like Superman right now, getting that track position. Gorlinski hops into his stall. Crew goes to work on that Wrangler race car. He's looking to pick up a win here at Martinsville, and Nim, what a story it would be.
Yeah, John Gorlinski, he's got some wins under his belt, I believe, from last season, definitely. But missed last week by not qualifying, not being fast enough. And this week, he's up here in the lead. So this will give you a good idea of the competition here in this field. Now is when you're going to see, we talked about 2 tires earlier in the race. Now, if anybody's going to do it, this is when they're going to do it. And possibly the 6 car, Ray Alfala, 2 tires on that stop.
Let's go ahead, take a quick break. We'll come back, reset your field, take you back to green, and take you to the checkers. You're watching the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship from Martinsville Speedway right here on PSR TV.
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real.
Back under yellow flag conditions again here as the number 21 machine of Daniel Pope is your race leader. Ray Alfala sits in second spot as the 22 had some difficulty on the racetrack. Brad Davies sits in third. Fourth is Brad Wright. Fifth is Josh Parker.
And Daryl, I tell you what, the battle that was between the two Joshes, Josh Berry and Josh Parker, was intense, and that was half the reason that the little checkup occurred out of the corner and sent John Gorlinski around in that number 22. I think that might be the battle to watch in this next restart, Nim. Watch Josh Parker, watch Josh Berry. Those two drivers, I think, are going to possibly maybe exchange a little bit of paint colors here in these remaining 40 laps.
Well, I think that might happen with anybody up front here. We got some guys on older tires up front, and Parker and Berry. These guys, no doubt, the way they feel, the way they won the race, they believe that this race is theirs, and they don't deserve to be back where they're at right now, and they want to get up front, and they're going to work, do their best to work their way up there. Parker, he led a lot early on, and he got taken out in an incident where it was certainly not his fault. The Berry's been running real good all night. He doesn't feel like he deserves to be back there in the 5th position. He wants to get back up to where he was. So, it's time to go, and these guys are going to go 39 laps to go from here to 38 next time by. So we'll see how it goes.
And you got to keep in mind, these drivers every single one of these drivers are used to winning. Gorlinski's used to winning. Jeremy Allen's used to winning. Pedro Mojica's used to winning. Matthew Moose is used to winning. Richie Davidowitz is used to winning. Jesse Atchison is used to winning. Wood is used to finishing in the number 1 position. They can't all win here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Only one can win every 2 weeks. That makes it that much more difficult. It's what happens when you bring the best of the best and put them together, Tim.
Indeed, you're right, Daryl. And when you look down, you trickle down to the series, a Class A series, a Class B, the Class C as the pace car lights are off. You see a black bumper in those series, they're pretty much going to be favorites. You see this race, there's all black bumpers in this field. They all hold the Pro DWC licenses, Nim, so they're all favorites in this one. It's just a matter of who crosses the line first.
Yeah, it's the best of the best, and when you get down to the end of it, at a short track here like Martinsville, there's going to be some beating and banging because every one of these guys feel like they deserve to win this race, and they're going to go for it. So green flag's back out. We got about 45 laps to go, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, the 2 involved, the 4 way up the racetrack. Josh Berry involved in an incident here, and somehow, some way, Berry's keeps it going the right direction.
Yeah, I believe Parker might have got a little piece of him going down there in corner number 1, and that got Berry's braking all messed up, and a number of drivers had contact going down there.
Looked like the 2 of Josh Berry drove to the inside and tried that dive bomb move, and it really is dependent on the driver behind you giving you room, and with less than 40 laps to go here at Martinsville, that's just not going to happen.
Hey, Daryl, what did I mention before we went green flag racing? Watch the 2, watch the 23. The bomb, it went off when we went green flag racing, and I tell you what, it went off in a big way. I like Daniel Pope's position right now, Nim. If we go a couple of caution flags here towards the end, the 21 and the 6, if they don't win this race, they might even come home with a top 5 finish, which would be a great points day when you look at the big picture.
Oh, absolutely. And right now, I'm sure Alfala would take that great points day, along with Thomas Hazard. We'll have to look down and see where Hazard went, but he was up there. He's right now in the 7th position, but right now Alfala up in the 3rd or 2nd spot, looking pretty good. And one thing about that last incident too, one thing you don't want to do here at Martinsville is put yourself in a bad position or put yourself in a position to be wrecked. When you cut across somebody's nose like that and going in the corner, they could just miss their bumper or miss their braking point by just a touch, and you put yourself in that position. So you got to be careful of that. One thing the smart drivers will do is they don't put themselves in a position to be wrecked, and that's what we see right now from Alfala.
A lot of these drivers in the early point of the season, only 3 races thus far this season, looking for that turnaround in the early point of the season. And Tim, Daniel Pope is one of those drivers.
He started 2 of these 3 races, Daryl, but he's 37th in the point standings. The top 30 qualify for the 2012 NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship. So not only is he looking to get a good points day to put him up in contention for a great finish at the end of this season and a great finish here at Martinsville, he still wants to qualify for next season, Tim.
Yeah, he definitely does. All these guys, they want to, if they're running out back or whatever, every position counts. And you don't want to be relegated out of this series. A lot of, right now, even though we see this series running, we have a lot of drivers here on iRacing, thousands of drivers competing, and they'll be competing all season long to get a spot to be able to compete, to get into this series next season. So the competition's unbelievably tough, and once you're here, you want to stay, and you don't want to be relegated out.
A lot of the issues we're finding is everybody trying to get down to the inside line here on the restart, and I think that's what we're going to see here is people trying to get down to that inside line on the restart. And where does Ray Alfala find himself, our points leader? On the outside line. Green flag flies. We are back underway. Can Alfala get down to the inside line? He's stuck on the outside of Pope. Pope pushes up the racetrack just a little bit. Ray Alfala gives him room. Side by side, it's going to be Alfala side by side with Pope. And look at the nose of Josh Parker right in there as well.
Parker may be the fastest guy out of this group right now. Parker just moves up in the second position. The 12 car of Brad Davies working his way under Alfala right now as they go through corner number 2.
As they go down the back straightaway, Daryl, you see the top 2 single file, Ray Alfala. He was trying to pitch that car in there, but right now on the outside line, he's going to have to pitch it a little bit harder. Oh, boy! Sideways, he saved it. I don't know how he did it.
Brad Davies washes way up the track there last time. He might have some damage on that right side, which forced him to push up.
Battle for the top spot. Josh Parker way down the racetrack trying to get room underneath the number 21 of Pope. Pope up the racetrack. Parker up the racetrack. Pope has to give him room. Parker, your new leader.
And now the battle for second in rate is Brad right to second. Here comes Ray Alfala. Alfala looking over the 21 of Daniel Pope. 5 by Pope.
Yeah, Alfala slots back into that third spot. It looks like the 21 car of Daniel Pope trying to get back in space, but Hazard gets by him, and now Chris Main is looking for a way by.
Brad Davies goes around. Last year's runner-up in points, the $3,000 man from last year, was looking for more. This year may have had some help off from turn number 2.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Berry got a little piece up in the middle of the corner, hit him again coming off turn number 2, and then hit him again to finish off the job there.
Reviewing the pass for the lead, and what an incredible pass between Josh Parker and Daniel Pope II. Give Daniel Pope credit. Daniel Pope could have tried to hold his line and force that issue, and we would have wound up with 2 cars in the wall as a result of Pope not trying to squeeze Parker down, not forcing the issue. Daniel Pope is going to come out of this at least with a decent finish and with a car not stuck in the outside retaining wall.
And you mentioned, Daryl, stacking up 2 cars. If they would have wrecked and they would have been sideways, they would have pretty much blocked the track, and we would have probably seen more than 2 cars involved in that incident. And I guess the old adage goes, Nim, 8 tires, corner better than 4.
Yeah, Parker, you could tell he was hungry. He knows he's got the best car. He feels he's got the best car out here tonight. Obviously, a lot of really good cars out here, but he is running good all night, and he wants this win. And you could tell just by the way he was driving, he feels like he deserves to be up there, and he wasn't going to let him get away from it. He's going to make his move.
Well, the mission is not yet complete for Josh Parker. He is back in the top spot. However, he's got Brad Wright to his right, oddly enough. As right behind him, he's going to have Ray Alfalla. Don't forget about Thomas Hazard. He proved himself to be quite the stout short track racer just 2 weeks ago, taking home the Bristol win, Tim.
You want to talk about short tracks? This is going to come down to a 20-lap feature between these drivers, the best drivers on the iRacing service. Pace car lights have been extinguished. We are going green flag racing next time by. It's just a matter of who can handle the 20 laps and who can get their car out in front for lap 250.
Yep, Parker, right now, when we get the green flag, we'll have 20 laps to go. Parker on the pole, obviously, but Alfalla is in a prime spot to take that second position from the 12.
Here we go, green flag, we're back underway. Parker out to the early lead. Here comes the 12 trying to push the nose under Parker. Parker off the racetrack, 3 wide, off from turn number 2. Somehow they make it work.
Here comes Ray Alfalla on the inside. Ray Alfalla going to take the lead. Parker not done with the 12. Into the back bumper of the number 12 in corner number 3. Parker trying to find a way to race. Meanwhile, here comes Thomas Hazard. Where did he come from?
Hazard up to second. The 12 car just stuffed her down underneath Parker that last time. Both of them doing a great job. We got 3 wide back here about the 6th position.
Amazing racing action here at Martinsville as the last 20 laps continue here at Martinsville Speedway. Alfalla, your leader. Hazard sits in second. Parker back up to third.
And right behind them, here comes Josh Berry on the number 12 of Brad Wright. Brad Wright falling back a position as well. Here comes Chris Main. Chris Main trying to get a top 5 run. Looks like Main going to be in 5th.
Main getting around, looks like Brad Wright right there. Wright falls back in line right in front of the Daniel Pope car. With car on the move right now, Josh Berry, he's back up in the 4th spot, and he's looking for a way to get down to Parker.
Your winner from 2 weeks ago, Thomas Hazard, trying to close the gap between himself and Ray Alfalla. 0.3 seconds last time by the stripe. This time by the stripe, the gap 0.317. He is gaining time, but very, very little time.
I tell you what, Darryl, the car looks clean right now. He's holding a pretty wheel. He's keeping that car to the inside. It's not pushing. It doesn't look loose from this point. I tell you what, that number 3 looks pretty good. It's just a matter of if he can get past the 6, and maybe if he uses that front bumper maybe to do so.
Hazard is the 2nd place car in points. Your leader right now, Alfalla, your leader in points. If Hazard can work his way by Alfalla, he will be your points leader coming out of this event.
Battle for the race win, battle for the points lead as well. Ray Alfalla, Thomas Hazard up at the front of this field at Martinsville Speedway, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Closing in on 10 to go, this time by the dirty dozen remain.
And you look at it, we did have 1 lap vehicle of Nolan Scott. He pulls into pit road, so he's not a factor. They might have a couple of cars up in front of them, about a half straightaway up, Derek Wood being one of them. So if this goes green, the duration, Nim, those lap cars could play a factor in determining a winner.
Yeah, they definitely could. Caution flag is out, and there's a crash right in front of the leaders here as they all get checked up right now, the 26 car and the 39 car involved.
Couple of cars get tangled up in turn number 4. That'll bring out the caution, line these cars up again, and that's not good for Thomas Hazard. That'll put Hazard on the outside line. That'll put Alfalla, Parker, and Main on the inside line. That's going to put Hazard, Berry, and Wright on the outside line. you don't want to give Josh Parker any more shots at you than you need to.
I tell you what, Daryl, that second row is looking mighty. We've seen some mighty aggressive moves here this evening from that second row. Let's just say Josh Parker and Josh Berry. We've seen it before. Those two drivers know how to get to the front and know what to do when the pressure is on them. That second row right now looks good, but of course the track position, Nim, goes to your top two drivers. This is going to be a fantastic race to the finish.
Well, you know, these guys are fighting for a NASCAR-sanctioned win, and all these guys want to be, you know, they all want to say that they've won sanctioned NASCAR races. This is the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and not only are they fighting for the NASCAR-sanctioned win, they're fighting for, you know, $10,500. There's a lot of money on the line that are going to the top 12 spots at the end of this season. So $10,500 is nothing to sneeze at, and these guys are, you know, it's worth fighting for, and they make their moves, and this is the big time, and that's what they're trying to do. And you know what? You don't see these kind of moves and people getting away with it as you do unless you have this quality of drivers, because we saw some incredible racing the last time, and, you know, we talk about the crazy moves, but they got away with it. It's amazing.
Here's the thing that impresses me the most, that these drivers are able to perform at this level lap after lap after lap. And, you know, your average driver, which I am your below average driver, I'll readily admit that, but your average driver may be able to crank off a decent lap here or there and just be able to pull off a so-so lap from time to time, or be able to pull off a stunning lap every now and then. But these drivers are pulling off amazing laps, lap after lap after lap, and they're doing it around other drivers that are pulling off these amazing laps. And with this kind of competition around them, to be able to turn any laps under green flag conditions at Martinsville is just staggering. It's almost it's awe-inspiring, to be perfectly honest with you. I sit in awe of these drivers every 2 weeks when I get the honor of watching these masters at work here in the NASCAR iRacing.com World Championship Series.
And the pace car lights are off, and you mentioned it, Daryl, 43 drivers start at this event, and to run close quarters like this on the paperclip Martinsville Speedway, a pat on the back has to go to all these drivers, and especially all these drivers that finish this event, whether they're all in one piece or not, Nim.
That's right. Ray Alfala, your points leader down the inside. Second in points, Thomas Hazard up on the outside. Let's see how that goes. Ray Alfala goes green.
6-lap shootout. Ray Alfala dives down to cover the inside line. Here we go. Little bit of contact. The road goes Alfala. We're stacking up the entire field in turns 1 and 2. Ray Alfala involved in the mix as we're stacking them all up in turns 1 and 2.
And Daryl, who got through that? Josh Berry. Josh Berry will be your leader. As you look back here, guys that got through it, Chris Main. Looks like Thomas Hazard gets out in front of Chris Main, Josh Parker, and John Gorlinski. Your top 5 when they came across the stripe. Of course, we'll see if that's all official. Looks like Connor McKenzie's up there as well. I tell you what, there's a lot of mangled race cars back here now, Nim.
Yeah, you see a number, some guys trying to keep their spot, some guys trying to actually take advantage of and gain position, and they continue to wreck all the way going down to corner number 3 after that wreck.
Oh my goodness, what an incredible finish here, and I believe this thing is over. It might not be. We may have a 1-lap dash, but oh my gosh. What a way to finish this thing. If it's not over, it's going to be soon. Josh Berry, Thomas Hazard, and Josh Parker, your top 3. Chris Main, Connor McKenzie round out your top 5, Tim.
And you look at it, Josh Berry came from 4th place on that restart. If we do get one more, I'm not sure if we will or not. I believe the pace car lights will have to go off this time by in order to ensure a green flag finish. But Josh Berry came from 4th on that restart to somehow make it through all the mess in the corner and end up with that first place position. Hazard, Parker, Main, and Brad right now being scored in the top 5. Lights got to go out here in order for us to have a green flag finish, and it looks like we're staying on.
Yep, Thomas Hazard's going to come out of here with the points lead. Ray Alfala looks like he's running about the 9th position right now, so he's going to lose some points. But there's a lot of beating and banging there on that last lap, and a lot of bent feelings out there on the racetrack right now.
White flag will fly. It looks like Josh Berry is going to take home the win. Josh Parker is one very upset driver behind the wheel of that number 23. He felt that he had a shot to take home this win, albeit we'll be leaving here with a top 3 finish, and that's nothing to turn your nose up at. Consistent finishes do tend to win championships, Tim.
But Darryl, when you wave the checkered flag in front of your face, here, come get it. You can win this race, and then all of a sudden, through all that mess, you end up in position number 3. It's gotta suck for Josh Parker. There's no other way to put it. Out of 4 to the checkered flag, your winner is Josh Berry.
Bringing it home in second, Thomas Hazard third, Josh Parker, Chris Main fourth. Good run for Chris Main. Brad Wright up there in top 5. Connor McKenzie, John Gorlinski, Richie Davidowitz, Ray Alfala, and Andrew Fayesh round out the top 10.
And that's a Main Performance PC sponsored driver taking home the win. And guess what that means? Somebody wins an Obuto cockpit.
Somebody's going to be a very happy camper along with Josh Berry as Parker pulls up here to the front straightaway as well, and he's going to do a burnout as well. Nim, I think he thinks he might have won this race too.
I don't know. He probably just showing his displeasure in some way that he can right here. But it's Martinsville. 43 cars on this track. Drivers sitting on their computers from all over the world. It is what it is. It's Martinsville in real life. You have these bent feelings after a race. Martinsville in sim racing, you have bent feelings after a race. But that's short track racing at its best.
Let's take a break here. We'll come back. We'll give you your top 10. We'll try to talk to some of our higher finishing runners. All of that when we come back post-race coming up next. Don't you dare go away. You get it locked where it needs to be. This is PSR TV. You're watching the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship on PSR TV. Post-race coming at you.
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real-world cars and tracks. Thousands of race fans and scores of pro racers like Dale Jr. and Justin Wilson are already racing at iRacing. Experience the thrill of victory yourself and go racing today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back here on the web. Welcome back here on PSR TV. It's been a long week already. It's NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship has just completed their run at Martinsville Speedway as the drivers continue to file in. Josh Berry takes home the win. Thomas Hazard takes home second spot. Josh Parker takes home third. Fourth goes to Richie Davidowitz. Fifth to Ray Alfala. Sixth to Andrew Fayash the third. Seventh goes to Jeremy Allen. Eighth goes to Jason Burstein. Ninth to Pedro Mojica. And running out your top 10 is Matthew Moose. I do believe that our buddy Tim Terry may have caught up with our race winner, Josh Berry. We'll see if we can't track him down. Tim Terry, I think you might have caught up with Josh Berry.
Down here in victory lane, a very jubilant victory lane for Josh Berry. Josh climbs out of the car. What happened on that final restart? Walk us through what happened to go from fourth to the victory.
I don't even know, really. Everybody got rolling pretty good, and Hazard and Ray started duking it out. I didn't figure that would happen. I didn't really see what happened to them, and everybody got crossed up, and Parker slowed down, and I was trying to get down behind him, and I bumped him and pushed him out of the way, and the seas just cleared there. Nothing really else other than that. I just got pretty lucky there that they were both on the outside, and I was able to get by before the caution come out.
Now, we saw some beating and banging a little bit earlier, typical Martinsville. You had a run-in with Derek Wood. Walk us through what happened there early in the race.
Well, he pretty much dove bomb me into three pretty good, and I was just trying to hold my position and get back down going into one. And I gave him a little bump and kind of got up next to him, and I don't know, we both were way out of shape there, and I think he ended up spinning out, but I don't think he hit anything. It's just, this racing is crazy, really. I mean, it's just nuts.
And it's also going to move you up in the standings as well just a little bit. Is it too early in the season to think points and think big picture for $10,500?
No, absolutely not. Every one of these races counts. You know, even more so with drop weeks like they are. You know, you want to avoid having drop weeks at anything you possibly do. So to get solid finishes every week, that's what you got to do. That's what Tyler did last year. That's what Brad did. That's what you're gonna have to do every week.
And been on fire recently with 3 top 5 finishes in this series. Josh, not only do you win, it looks like somebody else in the iRacing community going to be pretty happy with this victory as well.
Yep, Main Performance, Michael Main, we, Bodo, all of us put together a deal in the forums where if you pick one of us 8 Main Performance racing drivers and one of us wins the race, that we're going to give away in a Bodo cockpit to the random drawing out of the people that picked us. So the winner of that tonight is Ronnie Scott.
So congratulations to Ronnie Scott. He'll be celebrating alongside with Josh Berry here in Victory Lane. Josh, before we let you go, we'll let you have the opportunity to say hello to anybody out there. Who makes it happen for this Josh Berry team?
I just want to thank Michael Main, Main Performance BC, Abuto, for sponsoring me. It's been really cool to work with him and everything, give away Abuto cockpits and stuff like this. This is awesome. You know, I think it does a lot for the series, and of course iRacing, PSR TV for putting it on, all my teammates, especially Thomas Hazard and Daniel Pope for all their help this week in putting us up there. So I hate to have to win like that, but you know, they say if you don't dish it out if you can't take it.
There we go, down here in Victory Lane with Josh Berry, a very happy driver down here, and I'm going to kick it down to Nim Cross, who has caught up with our second place finisher, Thomas Hazard.
Hey, Thomas, you looked like you ran a pretty good race all night and actually kept the car fairly clean all night compared to a lot of other cars out there. With your second place finish, that definitely put you in a point lead, and definitely coming out here at Martinsville with second place finish in a point lead, it's got to be a big success.
Yeah, it is. You know, the whole race I was just kind of trying to take it easy. There was, you know, obviously we saw tonight there was tons of cautions. You know, the biggest thing was to stay in the top 10, and even then there was still a lot of people checking up and stuff like that. So the biggest deal, I was just trying to keep my bumper clean and stuff like that. And unfortunately, there was a few incidents that I did get caught up in, and thankfully my car came out all right. And there at the end, I was just in a good position there. Going on that last restart, I got a good jump there, and I was trying to go underneath Ray, and he decided to chop me off, which most people would do, on the last restart there. And we get down into one, and he started braking a little earlier than I anticipated, and I kind of got to his outside. I was planning on just taking the turn on the bottom, and that's how I caught up in his right rear a little bit there. And then I see there was that made a cause of chain reaction, and Barry got in the back of Parker, and Parker hit me, and I got in the back of Fala. But after all the chaos tonight, I'm so thrilled to get out of it with a second place.
Yeah, with all the chaos and it looks like most of the guys involved still were able to take out a pretty good finish. Alfala finishes 5th. You got 2nd. That's 3 points just in position there, and then you'll get some extra points. Well, actually, no. So you'll get about 3 points. You might get out of here with about a 1-point advantage tonight, depending on if Alfala. I don't think he led the most. We'll have to check on that. But about a 1-point advantage tonight in the championship hunt. Battling for $10,500. You really got to start thinking about these races and the way. How do you approach them going forward?
Yeah, certainly. I think I'll probably put a little bit more effort into it. I know I was in a similar situation last year. I was, around 2nd, 3rd in points, so I was doing fairly well. And then as we started getting to the speedways, I started falling off. So really, I've always seemed to run well for some reason at the short tracks. I've always seemed to just, get a good finish at the end. It's just the speedways is basically what we have left. We got Talladega and then Richmond in a couple weeks, and I'm got to kind of get through that first, but after that it's all kind of working on the plate racing, and hopefully we might have the new tire model by then, so we'll see what happens.
Tell us who your teammates are and who you want to thank. And
I just like to think biggest deal is Michael Main Performance PC. They've provided great sponsorship, and obviously all my teammates and stuff like that. And I gotta give a big thanks to Josh Berry and Daniel Pope, because I didn't practice a lot this week, and they really came through with a good setup.
Well, that's Thomas Hazard, your NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship point leader, as we head to our next race, and we'll send it up to Darrell with Josh Parker.
Caught up with Josh Parker. Josh, phenomenal run yet again. You lead the most laps. You had the fastest lap of the race, but these race wins are just kind of sneaking away from you, bud.
Yeah, you have, it's tough when you have people starting threads to see how bad they're going to DQ from a race, and then they take no tires and, decide to, it's not completely his fault. They lost control there. It could have happened to anyone, but when stuff like that happens and just tracks, it's pretty frustrating. So it doesn't really help when that happens. And it's short track racing to a point, but, it seemed like we got a little out of control there.
Well, we believe it may have been a brand new record for yellow flags, 24 cautions. How frustrating is it? We know how frustrating it is for us as broadcasters up in the booth to not be able to get those nice long green flag runs that we like to see, and we know that you like to see. How frustrating is it for you as a driver not be able to get into that rhythm you like?
A little bit. I know my car was, it seems like everyone can run about the same laps for about 20 laps, so you really need long runs. And that's when my car was better for me. So if you don't get anywhere longer than 20 laps, everyone's going to be as close as they were, and that's where you start seeing problems.
Take us through that last restart where it looked like you might have had a shot at this win, bud.
Yeah, I was just going to ride behind Hazard and see if him and Ray went to racing, and I was going to see if I can capitalize on that, because I was damaged. I had a minute worth of damage I never fixed from when Vinny hit me. And Josh Berry got a good restart and decided to give 2-for-1 payback for no reason. Like I said, I'm not surprised about that either. And he pretty much threw me into his teammate Hazard, who I think that's what caused him to get into Ray. So Ray was just blindsided by everything. And for some reason, the yellows weren't coming out right away. So everyone was just staying in it, and it was chaos from there. And that's pretty much it. Josh Berry ran over everyone in this race. So I feel bad for Hazard, which is his teammate. Everyone else. It sucks that you have people like that you can't have problems with one driver, where I overshot turn 1 and I almost got into Deep Hope, and where I get the lead, and I apologize for him. But then they all get together, and they're like, oh, well, you should pay him back for me, and they do. And now you have problems with multiple drivers, and it just starts spreading like freshman year in high school. So it sucks. You can't just have one problem, one driver. So now you have problems with several.
Is there any way to resolve this, or is this something that is going to continue on to Talladega in 2 weeks?
I mean, we're not going to resolve it by wrecking. I'm sure. Like I said, half of it was due to the short track racing. So you're not going to see me go at Charlotte and dive bomb Josh Berry by 7 car lengths to try to pass him. It's just a mental note to know who people are and how they race, sim racing or not. It's just people can be fake at sometimes, and when you get a little heated, the real emotions come out. So when I'm racing against everyone, I know them a little bit better, how to race them, if I want to pinch them more or what. So, I mean, there's not going to be any retaliation, if that's what you're asking.
All right, bud, before we let you go, you had a dominant car. You performed real well here tonight. And I know that you just got a brand new sponsor on the car, and it's something that's very important and special to you. Let's hear about that.
Yeah, I got rid of Verdane. I'm not with Verdane no more. Paul at Xlander. Like I say, he still has the best websites out there. I'm with Junior Motorsports now. I'm running Swap for Men and the Degree for Men sponsorship. So I mean, if you're out there, you're a guy, even if you're a woman, you want to shower and smell nice and go to the club and do whatever. Swap for Men, Degree for Men. You get those two, you put them on, and you smell nice. And I'm really happy that he came on board, and we're doing this sponsorship for the rest of the year, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right, Josh, before we let you go, other people you want to thank, teammates, friends, family members, anybody that might be watching that might be upset if you don't mention them right about now.
I mean, you guys do a terrific broadcast, as usual. You, Nim, and Tim Terry, all the officials, Shannon, iRacing as a whole. Without them, none of this interview wouldn't even be possible. So, all them, and just I give my setup out to Jordan Hightower and Chad Home this week. And it's good to see them make the race, and maybe we can get them a win or top 5 somewhere down the road.
There you go. That's Josh Parker. Had the fastest lap of the night here tonight and did it with a damaged race car and almost took home the win. We'll pitch it over to our buddy Tim Terry, who was caught up with the driver who was leading the points coming in and maybe tied for the lead coming out, Ray Alfala. Tim?
And was leading this race in the final restart of this event, finished in the 5th place position. Ray, I know this is not where you want to be. Walk us through that final restart.
Yeah, really disappointed, more like pissed off, really. Just, got a decent restart, but Thomas got a run. I think he had better tires or something, and so I naturally just blocked, just went to the low side. I was totally clear, and then he just decided to burn my right rear off. And then everybody went bowling into turn 1, and let's just take the leader out. So, I can play that game too. There's a lot more races left, and I'll keep that one in my pocket.
Could this be one of the things that we carry to Talladega coming up in 2 weeks' time? Maybe an ongoing rivalry throughout the season?
No, Talladega's not the place, but it's not that there's a wreck coming. It's just that you change the way you drive around people. Obviously, you can't trust some people anymore, so it's okay, though.
Now, unofficially, when we leave here, of course, everything is unofficial at this point. Currently tied with the points lead with Thomas Hazard. That has to be a consolation after the final few laps of this race.
Yeah, I think I actually finished 9th. The results got messed up at the end with a glitch or something, but so I should be like 2nd in points or something. But it's just frustrating because I felt like I did everything I had to do in the race to win, and then just get taken out by stupid stuff like that at the end is retarded.
Now, looking forward here in 2 weeks' time, of course, you're one of the drivers that double dips. We're going to go to Barber Motorsports Park for the roadside, and we're going to go to Talladega in the NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship, of course. Talladega, usually one of those crapshoots. Of course, you won at Daytona, and Barber is a different track all in itself. What do we see at a Ray Alfala in 2 weeks' time?
Well, on the roadside, I've been having good runs lately. Just got to get better at qualifying there.
And, well, Talladega's just Talladega. Just move on, pack up, put in a race setup, run the race, and go on to the race after that. Really, there's no other thing to say about Talladega.
Now, before we let you go here this evening, anybody out there you want to say hello to or any final thoughts before we leave the Martinsville Speedway? The mic is all yours.
Yeah, well, first I got to apologize to Brad Davies. Him and I had a few run-ins in the race, just, racing, and he got the bad deal. He got the bad end of that. And, just thanks to JDR Graphics, and sorry to everybody watching that we put on such a crappy show.
There we go, Daryl. There's Ray Alfala, and you have to feel for him after that final restart, going from first and unofficially scored in fifth, could be farther back in the field. I tell you what, an awesome finish to the race, but not what some people expected it to be.
Your top 10 again. Josh Berry takes home the win. Thomas Hazard takes home second. Third goes to Josh Parker. Fourth to Richie Davidowicz. Fifth, unofficially again, to Ray Alfala. Andrew Fayash the third takes home sixth. Seventh to Jeremy Allen. Eighth to Jason Burstein. Ninth to Pedro Mejica. And 10th to Matthew Moose. Again, unofficially and under review and possibly subject to change based on reviews. And we heard Ray Alfala say, you know what, I think I was ninth. Not really sure, but I think I was ninth. And that would put Ray Alfala second in the points to Thomas Hazard. All in all, Tim Terry, it's Martinsville, buddy.
Indeed it is. We saw a lot of caution flag laps here this evening, and the green flag laps that we saw, the restarts that we saw, were pretty exciting, pretty entertaining for the restarts that we did have. Some rivalries heating up, Nim, and I can't wait for 2 weeks' time. We go to Talladega Superspeedway race, that it might not be the place for those rivalries to continue, but you never know. Talladega's pretty much a wild card when you go to a superspeedway.
Yeah, definitely. We saw some actually great starts tonight. Some good battling going on. It got crazy there at the end, Even though we're racing and you're battling for the end, you still have to have a certain level of respect. And so everybody gets around to the finish. You just can't be dumping people. And I'm sure the officials are looking over that kind of thing for tonight's race. But, the drivers will learn from this event, and we'll go forward, and we'll have a better race next week. And just remember, if you want to help, or if you want to take part in something like this, just go on over to www.iracing.com and check out the buy 1 month, get 2 free deal, and come join us here at iracing.com.
This being a NASCAR sanctioned series, some words are echoing in my mind right now, and that's have at it, boys. And tonight, well, the boys, they certainly had at it as part of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And some of the boys had at it a little bit harder than some of the other boys, and there are some hurt feelings and some bent-up sheet metal, but that's often the case when you go short track racing. We'll see you again in 2 weeks here on a Tuesday night when we go big track racing. We'll go from the smallest tracks to the biggest tracks when we go to Talladega Super Speedway. And don't forget, Tax Slayers, Track Slayers will be part of Hot Lap Radio next Tuesday night. That's when I will see you next, and Tim Terry will be with me as well. We will see you in 2 weeks' time from Talladega Super Speedway. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that one. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Ian Bushing and Zach Stanko and Chuck Johnson and Matt Thomas and Nim Cross and Tim Terry, and I know I'm going to forget a whole bunch of people. Ilka Happala, I always forget Ilka, and I always feel bad for forgetting Ilka, and I feel like a horrible person when I forget Ilka, so I'm going to mention Ilka again and again and again, because Ilka's a good guy, and all the folks involved in producing one of these PSR TV broadcasts. I'm Daryl Morley, thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you, keep it shiny side up and rubber side down, and always, always, always keep that hammer down. We'll see you next time right here on PSR TV.